hear us all right? Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the Jibber Jabber podcast. As you can see, we're out of our comfort zone because we're sitting here in a room together.
It's really uncomfortable sitting right next to you.
Yeah, and have to really proper go above and beyond here to make sure it's works. So, kind of strapped in. Today's episode is again another first, because I think the first time we ever done a proper sit-down episode was with the same chap.
It was a whole 2 years ago, almost just before Schmovid kicked in.
That's right, and he's been on our show more than anybody else. He's actually the reason we've done like one of our favourite series we've ever done, which is the High Time series, which for us was just like classics. Ralph Campbell himself, Stephen McCole.
There we are.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you very much for coming. Thanks for coming again.
Thanks for asking me. And I tell you what, your wee room is dynamite. I love it. I think it's cracking. Next time you can stop that taxi and I pick up some of that booze.
Do you know what? It's a deal. It's a deal already, providing this goes all right.
Oh man, I think everybody can hear us fine then. So no audio issues. If everybody at home lets us know if you can hear us and all that, if it's out the way, then maybe not.
It's the thing with podcasts. If you can't hear them, it's shite.
It kind of sucks.
Mm.
We got really
It's a problem.
expensive mics here, so like, you should be able to hear us. Stephen, one of the last things we spoke to you about, we were actually doing the High Times show, and one of the things that really, for me, was like, I loved it when you spoke about that, was when you were talking about, you went in for an audition, and you were doing the audition, something kind of just came in, was, oh, that's him, and it was like, to me, that was like, well, that's I imagine that's what the business is like. So we kind of said to him, John, what would you want to chat about? I mean, we always know we get good chat. We was like, let's ask him some of the questions about being an actor. I know people that are starting out as actors. Right? I work with one specifically, and she's at the point now where she's ready to go and attack that world. And from most actors I've ever met are don't dare. Right? Yeah. And I'd like to really just kind of
just want to really send that home.
Somebody said that to me 30 years ago.
So, like, just from your experience, like, I imagine you don't sit there now and go, I wish I wasn't an actor. I imagine it's more high points than it's low points.
I think, to be honest, it's less of a choice and more of a, I can't really do anything else now. Once you get into it, once you're in that world, and that's all you do. You know, I think you're scared to do anything else because then you learn money and you get comfortable. And I've seen it happen with loads of people as I grew up as an actor, you know, from the age of 18, my first job, and was really lucky to get a few really good jobs. And that once that gets into you and going, oh, that's the good stuff, you know, you crave that good stuff, going and doing big movies or a big TV show or a really great piece of theatre, and I did all of that in the first kind of 4 or 5 years as being an actor, and then did it again for years after that. It gets you, it is like a drug, and you find yourself just caught in it. And I would see other friends of mine who were really had a great work ethic, which I never did, and they wanted better things in life.
Yeah.
Like to be able to buy a house and stuff. So you can't really do that as a job and actor trying to get somewhere. You have to accept the fact, especially coming from a working class background where you've no good parents that are paying for everything. If you need to accept the fact you're going to be skint and miserable a lot of the time.
Aye.
Whilst you're craving this thing and it's just around the corner and it can happen for you. So you have a massive amount of hope that lives in your heart, and 30 years later, I still have that. So it's not for everybody, I suppose that's the point I'm trying to get at. If it grabs you, it will tell you, this business will tell you whether it's worth it or not, and if you don't love it, if it doesn't get you out your bed in the morning, if it doesn't, sing to you, then you won't last. You'll do something else because there's lots of other really cool, interesting, fun things in the world today that are less painful.
I was thinking this, and I've always kind of wondered this, so you're the perfect person to ask. So some people go to soap operas, you see them, they're very well liked, they win awards, and then they're like, nah, I didn't get into acting, be in a soap opera, I'm going to attack it. Emmett J. Scammer, he's one of the guys that we've seen do stuff like Hollyoaks, and then go on to do some really good work elsewhere. Now, you went into River City, and I was watching a lot of your clips, right, from the character you played, Alan, and you fit that really well. Done really well at playing a soap character. Now, was the choice to leave after a year, was that your choice? And if it was, why?
It was my choice.
It was your choice. Was it for that very reason?
Yeah. No, it wasn't for that reason, because I'd already had it. And it was kind of in the middle of. I'd already been acting for about 25 years, 20 years, 22 years, and done loads of things. And they'd asked me to do the set before, and I'd always been like, but my circumstances, my personal circumstances had changed, and a little bit of normality, not auditioning all the time, not being told no 90% of the time or 99% of the time. All that became really attractive to me. So I said, I'll only do it if you make it a long-term thing. If I'm in this for years, and that's where my head was at the time. Going into it. And then in the first day of meeting, they'd be like, "Oh, I get paid. It's brilliant to have you here." I've not really figured out your character. So, any ideas? Which was great for me. I'm the creative kind of person who likes to work like that. I like to develop projects with people, and I think a lot of ideas are a lot better when I'm bouncing them off people and not like page. I'm rubbish at that, but I'm great when I'm working with people. So it was really exciting for me. It's like, I've got loads of ideas, and if it doesn't sound like the way it's written doesn't sound, feel free to change if you want. And I was like, oh, excellent. But they never told any of the directors this. So I was constantly, walking and just going, well, I'm not going to say that. My character would never say this. So I would go to shoot the scenes, and other actors would go, who will let you change that? What do you mean you won't let me? Oh, no, he won't let you change a word of the script. That's the director. I went, unless he can stick his hand up my arse and not bring me what I'm talking about, because I've been given the go-ahead from the producers and to make this character my own. But I would just have continued constantly, and I would constantly try and rewrite bits and get into fights with directors. And I was never one for getting into like stand-up shouting fights with people, and I think one of my last days on before I decided to chuck it in, it was me and one of the directors in a caravan shooting a scene, and I was like, I'm not going to say this. I mean, Bluey's fucking stand. I've had it with you fucking changing this and changing that. Just fucking do your job and say the fucking things. And I went, oh, I don't know that. I think they were shooting on a Sunday, and none of the producers, normally I would just go, just get the producers down and we'll sort this out. If they say I need to do it, then I'll do it. And, 9 times out of 10, the producers would come down, and I would be taking stuff out. It's not like I was trying to, I've written this monologue. this amazing monologue. I would take the shit out, stuff that I had already said in previous episodes. This doesn't make sense. It's exactly the same line. Two writers have written exactly the same line to me. So I want to change it. So all the changes to me made sense. But everybody had to go out the caravan and just leave me because no producers of it, so it's just me and this director in the caravan fucking screaming and bothering at one another. Threats of violence were happening. So eventually a producer turned up and kind of separated the two of us, and then somebody else shot the scene because he was like, I'm fucking nothing. And then I think the producer who was responsible for calling me up to say you want to come back put it in the terms of, are you coming back or what? And that, as soon as he put it like that, I was like, no.
Right.
That's when I made it. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but the lack of we want you back and that are you coming back or no? I've turned into an issue, I've turned into a problem on this show for these people. You know what I mean?
Right.
I ask too many questions. I always want things to be perfect. I'm not willing to just go in and say whatever on the page. I give a shit.
Aye.
And because of that, I'm causing problems. And I know when they do like, welcome back or what. I think we'd all be happier if it did.
I find that's my problem with soap operas is you can pretty much know what the next line is going to be. Everything's pretty formulaic.
I don't have a problem with them. Personally, I don't have a problem with them. It's me that had the problem. Do you know what I mean? That was the issue. And I like to change stuff that needs it, but that's only if it needs it.
Aye.
But I don't like being told you can't when it clearly does need it. You know what I mean? I think there was issues with that. But I loved the constant weekly wage was amazing. It was a highlight of my career, getting paid and being able to run. And the work, to be fair, was really easy. It moves at a fast pace, but as long as you've got your lines learned and you know what you're doing, then it really is. You do the stuff you do, paycheck. I have absolutely no bad things to say about anybody that does a soap. It is brilliant work for an actor. It is brilliant work for an actor, and I don't think it's brilliant work for every actor. It just wasn't brilliant work for me. It didn't fulfill me in the way that I want this job to fulfill me.
An artist.
Well, I struggle with calling myself an artist. I do. I don't think I'm like a singer or a songwriter or somebody who plays an instrument or paints.
You do. You bring something to life, though.
Yeah, true. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not.
You're like, boy, now.
I just have a problem referring to myself as an artist. I think that comes from where you were brought up. And the Atlantis. I know I am an artist, and I've done. I'm involved in an artistic endeavour.
One thing, just you're saying you don't tend to get kind of tete-a-tete with people very often. I heard you on another podcast, and you were talking about. See, me, I've always been scared of authority, right? Always not scared. I've always had like that, almost stand to attention. Like in my current job, the CEO walks past, I'm almost like that, and it's been built in. He's not like that. You. When you were on the set of Rushmore, and I think
I told that story in another.
Yes, you don't need to go into quite as much detail on this one because you told it before, but just for our guys, if you explain what happened in that one, because it's a great story.
I was built up during filming one day at lunch by a producer from I think Disney. I touched on it. I think he might have worked for Disney. And because they had tried to fuck me over 2 days before flying out there, they went, this is a wee guy. I don't think they're going to use those exact words.
This is a wee guy for Castle.
This is a wee guy for Castle. They know how the world works. We've offered them X amount of money. We're going to say, you've been given the wrong deal, and we're going to offer him half the money 2 days before flying. So I said no. And maybe like, you sure this is a Disney film? There's no way they're paying that to me, so tell them to go and find somebody else. So then they came back, they said, right, we'll give them the money. They went, no, they've done it now. And I want them to pay me every day I'm in America, or they can fly me home when I've got a downtime for more than a couple of days, which obviously is a ridiculous thing. I was only like 21 at the time, you know, so I don't know where all that was coming from. I must have watched too many films or something, you know what I mean? But in my head, I thought, no, this is the right thing to do. Fuck them, fuck. So I was really indignant, and I made them give me X amount of money while I was there. And none of that would have happened if they hadn't tried to half my wage. So I thought that was all, and they accepted it was all done. And I never even thought about it again until this producer pulled me up in front of everybody and started screaming and bothering at me in the middle of this huge school canteen with everybody, all the essays and all the other actors and stuff. And I'm turning around and I was like, so where I come from, right? You don't talk to people like that. You talk to people the same as you would in any situation. You know what I mean? You're going to let somebody away with that in the street. You're going to let them away with the workplace. You don't let people talk to you like that. You know, that's all you really got in life. Is your ability to stand up for yourself, and do you know what I mean? You give that away, you're nothing. So I told them, go fuck yourself. And I said, I tell you what, I'll just go out and get changed and I'll be heading to the airport and fuck your film. And I'll sue you. I went, where have you guessed I'm getting Good luck to you. I just walked out and I went to my trailer and I got changed into my costume and put my clothes back on. And I was ready to go until the director, Wes Anderson, so what was that about? And I laid it out for him and said, this is what happened and this is what he's just done. I'm not having it. And 2 minutes, he just wait, don't go anywhere. And the producer was at my door 2 minutes later. So I'll an apology for what he'd done.
Do you find sometimes the kind of dynamic between director and producer changes depending on the project? Like sometimes it's the director that's the man, sometimes it's the producer.
It should always be the director when it comes to what you're getting on screen.
Yeah.
You know? But it's very good when they work well together. It's amazing. It's brilliant. When there's loggerheads between them, it's horrible.
Right.
But I tend to keep myself to myself when I'm working. You know, I don't really get involved in any of that. You know, there are people who love to get in a bit of, it's your job, what do you do? You know what I mean? And they're all in a bit of, I feel really at home on set. You know what I mean? I feel really comfortable. I don't feel I need to make that much an effort. I have a lot of fun, and it's a purely fun place to be for me. You know, so if there's issues going on, that's fine. Okay, do you know what I mean? And I'm like, nothing to do with me, man. As long as I get time. At the end of the day, and nobody's being treated horribly. You know what I mean? I'm good.
It's like the bare minimum, really, in any kind
of course it is. Listen, it's no different to anything else. You know, that's the great thing about demystifying the whole thing. It's just another place of work. Do you know what I mean? We expect to be act accordingly.
I think that's the thing that us as the kind of general public, the civilians, don't like. To us, it just seems like all glitz and glam, but eventually, I'm assuming it does become a workplace for most actors.
Yeah, but it's different every time. You know, imagine you having to go every couple of weeks that your office changes.
Aye.
A different office, and you get a different desk, and you get a different people working next to you, and it's like your workplace is constantly being shuffled. The people that you're working with, the job that you do is different every time. You know, no two characters are the same, no two sets are the same, no two stories are the same or should be. You know, that's why your pals should totally do it, because it's the fucking best job in the world. If you could get work all the time, that's why the top, 0.5% or 0.1% actors get paid so much money.
Yeah.
You know, because they're always in demand, and people are fighting over them to get them to be in it. I mean, it's quite lazy. I mean, you should get all that money and share it amongst, lower tier actors would be amazing.
I hear as well that having a big name essentially gets the money for that movie. Right?
Yeah, well, that's a you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours type situation, isn't it?
We've got a few people, well, quite a few.
Say some comment.
Aye, we've just been roast. Stephen Thompson says, good evening, KFG and Big Rab.
Big Rab.
Another fan at High Times.
Excellent, that's a great show.
I love that our audience is well versed with High Times. And Heather Dow says, I spent a day on the set of River City. Was pretty cool. Never seen behind the scenes before.
Awesome. I spent a year and a half on the set of River City. That's cool.
If you guys at home would like to ask Stephen a question, pop it in the comments wherever you're watching it. And just ask away and we'll bring it up.
I'll just tell us what you had for dinner. Right, a lovely cod and chorizo number on a bed of kale. So
That sounds extremely healthy. Speaking of which, you're looking cracking.
thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Aye.
What's your program? I'm laughing. Fuck.
I could lose weight so quickly. I would have got celiac disease and pancreatitis long ago.
I think last time I spoke to you was actually in your garden. I think I was there to just give you some stuff, and you told me that you'd been diagnosed with celiac. So I didn't know about the pancreatitis. That sounds fucking grim.
Well, you know what? I'm saying that I've done the test now, and I'm not sure it's celiac, and I'm still waiting to find it if they get a CT scan on the pancreas. But you know, being like as most of us do these days, I've been on the Googled all my symptoms. I've narrowed it down to a couple of things, but this has been ongoing for about 18 months. So I'm finally on pills now, so I can eat again without going to the toilet every 5 minutes.
Right.
Which was for a year. I did not get too graphic or anything.
You get yourself tested.
Constantly going to the toilet, constantly 4 times a day. It was ridiculous.
Jesus.
So that's why the weight, just because everything that was getting in was coming out and more, it was just, so I ended up stopping eating hardly anything because it was just too depressing.
Aye.
So, but it was good. It was looking good, and I got to a certain weight, and I was like, well, I'll maybe start running again. It'd be nice to try and become a runner, but not whilst trying to lose hundreds of weight. Normally you start running when you need to lose weight, so I'll start running, and it's a fucking nightmare. It's horrible.
That's why I always get put off it.
It's just horrible, right? And then I started running when I was kind of lost a load of weight, and it was so much easier. And I was up to 5 miles every couple of days. I was running, and taking on hills and still running, and it was amazing. I've only done it for a couple of months, so I'm totally back to square one.
It's amazing how it goes.
It's a lifestyle. Trying to be a runner, you know what I mean? It's tough to do it all the time.
Aye.
Stephen Thompson says, I never knew Stephen was in the Legend of Van Thompson.
Aye. I love that. I am. Big Willie.
Aye.
Big Willie Jr.
That haircut was something else, man.
It's a beautiful moment that I had the image of that character in my head, and it's a testament to a director who hires you and trusts your instincts, because I think my first day when I was going in to get the haircut done and stuff, I had grown a beard and I was just walking past Bobby Cullen. I'm sure he had loads of other shit to deal with, and I just went, Bobby, 50s flick, big sideburns, winkle picker shoes, and he went, brilliant, and that was it. That was the whole conversation about his look. So I had to go into the makeup and hair department, and I was like, right, Scope, this is how I wanted to look, and I was really happy with how that character came across. It was a lot of fun doing that film.
I loved that film, man. It was one of these kind of hidden gems almost.
I think it's not one of those that's going to have a life long after. I think there's a lot of films like that maybe takes a good 5 or 6 years down the line, or 10 years down the line, people start to rediscover it.
Yep.
And they realise what a classic it is.
When you've got Emma Thompson playing an old Glaswegian you can't beat it. And I nearly spoiled it there. Right, I'm not.
The first time I met Emma Thompson was outside the Barrowlands, 3 in the morning. They put us in a tent to stop paparazzi for taking photos there, right? Because they did. So it was just me and her, and she was in character the whole time. She never came out of character. So I was saying, how you doing now? I said, oh, buddy, son, who are you? And I was like, all right, yes, we're doing that. And I was like, you want a wee cup of tea? So there's a wee tea found in this one. Oh, yeah, I'll come with you. And she shuffled all the way down to the tea, but it took me about 10 minutes to get there. I was like, this is brilliant, man. This is just brilliant. Didn't break out here for a second. Got a cup of tea, shuffled our way back, sat in the tent. Amazing, man.
Oh, man. We have another question here from a young upcoming actress. Her name is Michaela. I can't actually pronounce her surname. I get done in for that. She said, hi, thanks for coming back to the show. Is it worth taking a risk and contacting casting directors if you know they are casting a role or you think you could be good for? So, sell really.
Right, here's my advice to you. Why not? The only thing that's going to happen is you'll get told no. And if you're going to be an actor, you better get fucking used to that. You better get used to getting told no. You know, I have had so many knockbacks in my life. So many. Some of them have really hurt. But most of them don't even ding, ding, oh no, it's a ding. No, I'll have that knock for breakfast. They don't fucking bother me now because I expect them. You know, and when I was a young actor, I was bold as brass. And I remember shooting the very first thing I ever did was a short film. And we were on top of the Baird Hall Residence, the Art Deco building on Surrey Hall Street. Right, so I'm standing on the top of that building, like I'm going to jump. And as a crane comes up the side of the building, it's me standing there, I'm shitting myself, right? And why hasn't it just been got me? I'm still like, fuck, if he's break, if there's cold up my back, if all goes wrong, I'm dead. You know, and those guys are Celtic, they're playing Rangers, and the people are really going, don't jump, Celtic, you're strong. The guy that was going on, he was like, oh, tell me what you did, tell me what you did. I mean, I'm leaving the acid house, and he says, oh, the producer of this is the acid house. I went, really? Oh, brilliant. He says, aye. Great. And the minute I got off of that wire, I went up to the producer and I said, I want to play Gold Coil in the acid house.
That was it.
Oh, do you? All right, I'll give you the disc. And he went, excellent. And then the disc, and I got it. You know, who knows, I may never have gotten the disc for that, but I had to walk up and ask for it. So,
Do you think it's like it's a mixture of bravery and almost an aspect of not giving a fuck?
you need to
Do you know what I mean? Right.
More than no giving a fuck. I mean, bravery. Bravery's good because you need to be bold. But no giving a fuck means you don't care if they say no. You know, accept the 100 no's to get that one yes.
Yep.
Because if you don't accept the no's, if that's too much for you, you'll never make it. You'll choose something else that's less psychologically damaging. You know, I think actors that stick with it and their job and actors are a little bit affected by it. Because it's horrible getting told, it's horrible getting dejected and thinking that you're not good enough. And that's a constant bedfellow when you're an actor.
Yep.
So yeah, be bold, be brave, phone them up, anything. Go and find a pal with a camera and make a film, write a script, write a monologue, get anything at all, anything and film it so that you've got something to show people.
Yeah.
Perfect.
The old proverbial CV. That's what it is. You do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it works both ways. You know, when I'm skint, I tried to get a job at the post office. And they were, if you get a CV, they went, no, I've got a spotlight page. I've literally only ever done acting since I was 18, so I couldn't get a job in the post office because they don't accept your showreel.
What if you played a postman?
I would be as close as I would ever get to
Where do you consider yourself now? Like you were just talking about like a job an actor, and you've got your top 0.1%.
Very much a job an actor.
You still see yourself in that?
No job on the horizon now. Just, had great success with being in a couple of really good TV shows and playing, guest roles or written parts, but doing them well. And last year was the same, guest roles on good shows.
Yep.
And if I could do more of that and come on to a show and make a bit of an impact, brilliant, excellent. I mean, ideally, I want my own show down the line somewhere. I want to be what Doogie's doing with Shetland, or what
I remember last time you were here, you said you really fancy playing like the kind of rough cop kind of thing.
I mean,
Tag up.
Yes. Aye. Some sort of character like that. I grew up watching things like The Sweeney and was it Shoelace? And so Shoelace, it's called about the detective who lived in a houseboat, always an attractive character. I mean, he's complex, got a moustache, cracking. There's a lot of goon, there's those kind of things I always thought were really good. I'm a sucker for a good detective story, and whether that's Private Eye or somebody that's, anything at all like that, I really like those shows. So yeah, I could be down the line, that's the kind of thing I would like to do.
Something about a guy in a tash running in a leather jacket. Aye.
Definitely set in the 80s.
Right, aye. I think now a guy in a tash running in a leather jacket don't know if it would fit in as well as the 80s. Aye. Aye.
The problem is that I'm nearly 50, so nobody wants to be a 50-year-old guy in a period thing in the 70s and 80s. You're just an old guy. You need to be young, give you a period thing to be hit and cool, and you're like, no, the ship has sailed for that, I think.
It can always be something. Always be something.
Aye, I think Sky are doing a lot of great, like 6-part dramas now. I don't know if you've watched much, but I forget the names of them because they're on that often. Usually, White Up, but you need to watch this. It's about a kid that went missing, and they think the brother done it, kind of thing. And I'm like, all right, cool, let's see. And I try and figure it out before there was one I actually watched, and I did figure it out. I can't even remember the name of it. It was Wee Lassie. It was basically the Wee Lassie. And do you know, in the first episode, it goes, it's her. And do you know how I knew this? I don't know if it was deliberate. It was basically her wee pal had died. So she was about maybe 10 years old. Her wee pal had died, right? And they said, oh no, somebody's obviously, a man's come and taken this kid away and killed him in the woods. And when she found out about it, her dad's like, yeah, your friend got killed. And she's like, oh, all right.
I would have thought it was her enough.
Right. She wasn't afraid that there was someone out there. Like if someone came to me and said, and I'm 10-year-old, your friend from next door just been killed, I'd like, right, I'm not gonna, because I'll get killed.
Never mind. Your neighbour's been brutally murdered, and I'll just be staying out.
It's like, oh, I think I need to go in isolation. Again.
That wee girl didn't act scared. And I was like, because she knows. I was like, that's her.
I don't have to be scared, then it's through the audience.
Right. Exactly. I think, do you, like, when you've worked on a project, has the director ever said to you, this is a plan here? So that, sometimes you'll watch
No, because they give the script. The script before we begin and go, oh, right, okay, and then you just go. Sometimes even I just did Shetland, and what I do is the first 3 episodes, and I read them, and then you don't get the last 3 episodes until you're already in there filming. So they're still working on them, and so I got those 3, and what I do is I'll get the script digitally, and I'll search for my character's name. Right, so I'll read it through once. I read the first 3 episodes, then I just search for my character's name. So anytime my character spoke, was in a scene, or anybody talked about that character, comes up on the screen. After that becomes my script.
Right.
I don't have any of the other stuff taken to get in the way I have to look through. So I've just got the stuff that involves my character.
Okay.
And then when the last 3 episodes came out, I went, I'm going to read them. I'm just going to do the same. So I just made that script for my character and his journey, and had no idea who done it. And I was like, oh, when I get to watch this and really enjoy it, and nobody said was like talking about it. So this lovely actor from Afghanistan, this actor, came up and straight away just went, oh, and they told me who did it. And I was like, oh, mate, I was keeping that. I didn't know who did it.
You and him would go on well.
It was like we had a day left on set. Finish film, and they told me the last day and told me
you love a good spoiler.
It's not that one. The thing is, I see something.
Excuse.
I want to talk about it now.
Excuse.
I hate people like that. I remember I gave away a part of Game of Thrones that happens in the first series when I was watching the 4th series and the 3rd series. I was filming this short film called Hole with Yana Beatty and James Cosmo's brilliantly short film. We were sitting in the middle. A lot of it takes place in the woods, so we're just with the chairs out in the woods and we're sitting talking. Obviously, Cosmo's in Game of Thrones. I was like, I've watched him a couple of times, never remembers me. So, hi, I'm Stephen again, and nice to meet you. We're chatting away, and I was like, oh, brilliant. I was talking about the bit where what's his name, Bastard, gets his heat cut off.
Aye.
And these people telling me, oh, spoilers! And I went, mate, it's literally 3 years ago. I'm not getting spoilers after 3 years, I'm sorry.
Is that what?
No.
What about 2.5? It's 3 years that.
No. I think a month. If you're not up to date with something, fuck you.
You know what? I'm taking that, and I'm going to.
Oh man,
that's now my newest. I'll go longer than a month trying to stop.
My whole TV and movie entertainment's fucked now.
If it's a thing that's
Well, I'm dying to see the new Ghostbusters film. right? But my wee boy won't come and see it with me, because he does. Well, see, thought of that. But I can't. There's no an early enough showing in the day for me to be able to go and then go and get him for school. So I'm kind of just waiting for it to show up on a premium stream service, and I'll get it then. But I was just flicking through Facebook the other day, and I think it was on the Jibber Jabber page. So I think he joined this horror group or something, and somebody posted a screenshot of what I would consider a fucking major spoiler for that film, and I'm raging about it, and I'm still seething. That film's only been out for a few weeks. It's still under the month. So aye, it's a few weeks.
It's just serial TV things. If you're not up to date after episode 4, then all bets are off. Movie, don't spoil a movie well and stuff like that. So that's sacrilege.
Aye, and nobody even called them out on it, unless those comments were deleted. But everybody was just like, "Yeah, amazing, amazing." I was like, I commented on it saying, "No," and it was immediately declined because we'd only been in the group for less than 3 days.
Really?
Aye, fucking Facebook.
So I'm just going to close a coffee.
Aye. Did anyone bring cups for Mac in there?
No,
You just take it straight in the hatch.
See, it's the cupboard above where the coffee is.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, man.
We're aware that some people have been texting me during the show, just saying that the audio was not perfect. It's mainly because I can't hear. There was a monitor on this that allowed me to hear, so I could adjust it in real time. But that's not terrible. People are still not up to scratch.
Damn it.
Michaela, you know what? I think I can pronounce her name. Manzakova.
Michaela Manzakova.
Yeah. Oh, you've heard of her?
No. Names that are the white Anglo-Saxon.
I'm always afraid. I probably could have done it the first time. I'm just afraid to.
I think that's a syndrome. I think that's
probably.
Yeah, I think that must be a syndrome, and you're scared to pronounce a name and fear that you might be called a racist.
I can't pronounce half of the words I speak.
Most of the time, my name comes up like that. Like when we're doing it kind of remotely, and he'll just be like, "Jordan, you want to read out the next comment?" And I'm like, "Thanks, man. I see what you did there." But I tend to manage it.
Michaela asks, "What's your mental process before shooting a scene? Do you have a pre-shoot ritual that you like to do?"
Hold on, I'm pouring a coffee.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. Here,
2 coffees.
No, that's right. Oh, man. Don't mind, man. Jesus.
You can pour me one, Jim.
See that I'm paying attention. Sorry.
Aye, sorry. So she says, she also says, name is bang on, Kev. Well done. Thanks. I think I've just saved myself a beating. She says, what's your mental process before shooting a scene? Do you have a pre-shoot ritual you like to do?
It all depends on what the scene is. That's it. It all depends on what the scene is.
I'll pour it for you.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of the AR, NER kind of thing. Can't remember who it was. Old Hollywood actor, loved the smoke. Used to write on his scripts, AR, NER, acting required, no acting required, because some scenes really require a massive amount of focus, and some don't. You can just go in and have fun and do the scene. Some are so simple and easy that you'll almost fall asleep if you're doing them.
Sounds like something Oliver Reed would have said.
It's no Oliver Reed. It's an American. He was in the original Cape Fear.
Oh, God. No. Oh, it's coming. Gregory Peck.
Oh, the other one.
Somebody's going to look this up. Right now. Get on IMDb.
Original Cape Fear.
It's really annoying because he's an absolute Hollywood legend. And the story goes, they like to smoke, they like to get stoned and stuff, and he wouldn't get stoned. Dobby was on the script. It was an AR day, make weed. But it was an AR day, the shop was open and they'd be fucking away. So, not that that's what I do, but I do subscribe to some scenes some characters require a lot more focus, and I usually keep, if it's a tough character or something I'm really invested in, like super invested in, I'll keep myself to myself the minute I'm on set. The minute I'm on set, I'm laser focused. I just pace up and down, and I keep my mind on the joke. whereas other people could be standing about, fanning about and having a laugh. I can't do that just before I go on. Just before I film something that has any weight to it. I can't. I would put myself off. And I find I'm doing myself a disservice if I did that. I wouldn't. And lots of other people are there, setting up, working their asses out, waiting on me to go on. It's not right that when they're ready for me, I need to take a minute. You know what I mean? I should be fucking ready. You know, the minute they're ready, I'm ready. So I think that's the only prerequisite. Be fucking ready. Know your lines before you get there.
Have you got like a kind of like a pinnacle of one you really struggled with, like when it came to acting required?
I was not always prepared. Theatre work terrifies me. And still to this day, absolutely terrifies me. I've blanked a couple of times on stage in full houses, and the whole audience just.
Did you have a wee script? Usually, because I don't
exist.
I done a few
You've
pantos.
seen too many movies. Pantos maybe.
I've done a few pantos.
Anybody can shout in panto. The first time I tried on stage, God, it was at Cumbernauld, and it was a preview. Thank God I never did it when people were actually paying good money. The first time it happened to me, and it sticks me forever. It's one with this amazing actor that we're doing this scene in that bar, and you know, anything can put you up. The most innocuous, stupid thing can put you up. And I picked up the pint glass, and I was like, "I'm getting that in my head," and then I just went, "I have no idea what the next line is, or the scene, or play is about." So I'm starting this all the looking at me, he can see it in my eyes, and he's fucking loving this. And I'm just shat the bed on stage, and I'm like, and I've never done it since because I know they don't fucking care. But I looked at the stage manager at the time,
Line.
And she just went. Oh. It was the most horrendous thing, and I've done that a few times on stage. I've never asked for anything, but there is a very specific kind of callousness that comes with being a good stage actor, and I just don't think I've done enough theatre to have that in me. I work very, very hard when I'm on stage, and when other actors are trying a bit. It gives me the willies, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, if I can't get out, I'm definitely going to die on stage. I'm going to die and make an absolute fucking howling cunt of myself. It's a constant fear. I don't get that when it comes to TV and film stuff, you know. And
do you think it's because, you know, with that you've got another shot as well? Aye.
Safety net sitting.
Yeah.
But again, I never need one. Do you know what I mean? The fact that it's there means I never have to use it.
Aye.
You know?
Aye.
The fact
You're comfortable.
It's there on stage means I really want it. I really want it. I really want that chance to do it again when I mess it up.
Yeah.
But then you reach a pinnacle of emotional integrity when you're doing something on stage when it works. It's very difficult to replicate when you have to do a scene 7 or 8 times. Being emotional once is always, and hitting that once is always more powerful. It certainly feels more powerful than doing it 7 or 8 times, because the energy will inevitably wane.
Yeah.
That's why you have to maintain your concentration levels and be really professional when it comes to emotional stuff or your really intense stuff. You know?
With regards to that, there's a time where J-Mac and I can relate to you. I've always done, like, I've played in bands and stuff, so everything I've ever really done, apart from the podcast, and now the podcast, everything's always live. So the only time I would really get nervous is if I'm like, I don't know, like if I played a session, if I was playing bass guitar in a band and I've just learned all 5 of their songs for that set, like, but one of those songs I'm still questioning if I know exactly what I'm doing, that's when I would get nervous, right? But when we first went to a convention to speak to different actors, when we first started this podcast, I shared his moment. Like, I was actually there for it. I actually was in that. It feels like what could happen in like 3 seconds could feel like 6 minutes. He was speaking to Lou Ferrigno. I'll let you tell the story here. And we've never told you that story before. Speaking to Lou Ferrigno. I was his prompter. I was actually his prompter. right?
Oh, that was funny. Basically, I had a question for him. I can't remember exactly what the question was, but it was something along the lines of, now that you're not competing in bodybuilding anymore, have you found something else to kind of deal with that competitive streak? Something like that. And he just looked at me and said, you know I started again, don't you? And I was sitting there for what felt like 5 minutes, not able to speak. And he just went, but see, when you watch the video back, it's literally a second. But in that moment,
Yeah.
it felt like a fucking lifetime.
And I shared it with him.
And it's Lou Ferrigno. You know, he's sitting in front of you, all massive and fucking terrifying looking.
It's the way he
You know I went back to it, right?
It's like you could see everybody moving the way where he was just kind of staring at Jordan like he was almost offended, but it wasn't. It's just the way he is. I realised he's actually quite deaf. So there's a lot of like.
Everybody knows that.
You know,
He said he is deaf.
He's
I didn't know that.
profoundly deaf, aye.
Aye.
He's a deaf person.
I didn't even
He's a
know that.
deaf man. He's a deaf weightlifter, bodybuilder.
Well, see, when I met him, I didn't know that until it was kind of pointed out towards the end. So, as far as a deaf guy goes, he does really.
I mean, it would have been much better if you'd have been like, so you're deaf?
That's the thing. That's the thing. I get chinned for not only went back to competitive bodybuilding. You're sitting there not even knowing that he's fucking deaf. So I felt like the world was going to swallow me whole. Aye. The old Hulk films were class.
So we basically share that with like that was I was kind of relating to you when you said, you know, lying and
drying up.
Feel like you're out there with a net.
That is when I first started, when I was a young actor doing stuff with like Castle People's Theatre and doing, you know, I was super reliable. Like I knew everybody's like I would do the whole thing, and if anybody get in trouble, I was there for them. And then years of, you know, enjoying yourself. Gets to the brain cells, and then eventually you're like, God, I need every single one of them just for my lines. You know, I don't have it around anybody else's or helping. You know, but these super confident theatre actors, you see them on there and they can fuck about and mess about on stage, and you're doing all these really stupid dance things, which look great in audience, but we would never do it. Movement stuff, you know, making your way across the stage and really kind of abstract line, and there's other actors sticking their finger up your arse as you're walking away. Oh, you're like, I'm trying to be a person in the Holocaust getting blown away in the wind here. You know, I'm taking this really seriously. And you're going, oh, and you know, you're like, oh my God, how could you be so blasé? I mean, I've got massive respect for them. You know what I mean? I wish I had that level of confidence to be that blasé.
I listen to a lot of interviews with different podcasts because now a lot of people have podcasts, especially actors. And there's a few I've listened to, and they all kind of say the same kind of thing. Like they'll accept a certain amount of horror movies and go, right, I'll leave it there. And I don't know if I'm right. And you can probably answer this better than anybody I know. But is there sometimes where you get offered something or there's a job comes up where you'll
yes. That's what I think.
You don't have it within you to be like, well, if I do this, I could get pigeonholed.
No,
that's not an issue. It
all depends. I'd say like if there's a show and there's a character who pops up, say in the last 2 minutes of the third episode of a 3-episode thing, and I'm looking for somebody to play this character who's got the 3 lines, and they want me to audition for it, I'll say no. Because you look at the size of the part, what it is you're making, you should be asking actors of my quality who've been doing this for so long, not necessarily me. You shouldn't be auditioning. There's plenty of brilliant actors who could step in and scoosh that for you. And I know everybody's got a lot of vision and all the rest of it. Well, pick a fucking actor that's not a vision. That's an insult for me. So I won't audition for that.
Right.
So I do it. Absolutely. Ask me to do it. But I want to be in competition with people for 3 lines for a character who just pops up. No.
Does that not?
You should just be asking actors who've been battering the fucking heats in for 30, 40 years in this business, who have got massive show reels and huge CVs, just offer it to one of them.
Yeah.
They're going to do you a good. They're going to do a great job for you. Pick somebody whose face looks good on their headshot and give them this
The
new head.
Just going back to that kind of takes me back to it's a cracker. Just that kind of takes me back to what we were saying earlier on. Like, do you think we having the ability to say no, I'm not auditioning for that? That should that not take you into the next echelon above jobbing? No.
No, it just makes you that people won't ask you there. But that's what's in the back of your head. So every time you say no is a risk.
Mhm.
That's what you get in the back of your head, you know. So if I say no to working with this person, I might never work with this person again.
Mm-hmm.
I had to do, like when I took Riverside, it was a very specific time in my life, and I was touring down in London with a play, and it was a brilliant play. And
Mhm.
we were just doing actually a small at the Royal Court, and because of that, we got offered 6 months in the West End, and I had to choose between doing that and doing Riverside.
Right.
And I had to tell the director, massive theatre director, that I was choosing that. I fully expect to never work with that man again.
Right.
Because I made that decision at that time. That was right for me. I needed the money. My kids needed the money. You know, I needed to get. I needed a house. I needed somewhere to live. I was in a really low end of financially, so I needed to set myself up.
Mhm.
And never sit here to do that. You know. But I know I'll probably maybe never work with that guy again. You know what I mean? Because I made that choice.
What's it like kind of knowing that the job that you're doing, you can end up in situations where you're not getting that kind of guaranteed wage, and like you've not had a big thing for a while. I mean, how does it feel?
It was fucking horrible.
Like, I don't expect to feel any differently, but I mean, like, how do you get through it?
I say that thing, it lives in there, and it's just like, no, it's all right, you'll get something will come up.
Right.
I mean, there's definitely 3 or 4 times in my career where I've been like, nah, I'm done.
Right.
I'm done.
Post office time.
I'm done. Post office time. Anything, do you know what I mean? And, you know, there are other things that I could do, but I don't want to. You know, I want to do this, and I want new challenges. I want to play new characters. As I get older and I develop, then the characters I play become older, more distinguished, interesting. You know, there's a lot more life to them. I've lived a lot more life, so I can bring more to it. You know, I love this game. You know, it's very much a game. The job of an actor is to get a job.
Mhm.
You know, doing the job, everybody should be able to do that. If you call yourself an actor, you should be able to do the job when you get it. You know, you should be confident in your ability. Getting the job, however,
Yeah.
you know, auditioning, self-taping, you know, all that stuff is a constant. Trying to get those done and trying to, you know, it's just constant. It's in your head all the time. The minute you wake up, we're going to get a call today, and we're going to, you know, it's all the time.
In your opinion, because from the 3 years we've done this now, we've become friends with a lot of people that work out in America, actors, some small actors, and some with a wee bit of notoriety. And a lot of them will say, my agent will set up the job, but they don't bring in the job. Do you think it's the actor's job or the agent's job to make these roles happen? Like, for example, if I was Stephen McCole's manager tomorrow, my job to me would be I need to be speaking to this many people a day. I need to be showing all the best parts about why this actor is perfect for these parts. I need to think outside the box, find other ways to make you relevant in my mind to the point where.
Well, you're describing Entourage to me. You know, when I first time I watched Entourage, I was like, it's an agent and a manager and a lawyer. And when I was out in LA and I got a meeting with a manager, I was like, I'm confused because we don't have that here. Maybe they do, I don't know, but I've never met an actor that's got a manager. I've met an actor that's got a publicist, you know, that looks after their image.
Right.
But I've never met that American equivalent of a manager who's actually actively going out and talking their client up to studios and stuff. That's trying to make people famous.
Yeah.
You know, agents are there as a conduit to negotiate your fee and bring in, you know, so your casting directors, casting agents, casting directors will contact get the agent and they'll put it down and say, these are the characters we're looking for, and the agent saying, oh, these are the characters we go, or they just get on Spotlight and they look through and they see who's the age range and stuff, and
Yeah.
and they put it there, and then my agent deals with everything for me. Do you know what I mean? I don't have to really, I shouldn't have to speak to anybody. Do you know what I mean? Other than doing the audition and talking to the director. Everything else is that's what I pay my agent to do.
Right.
My manager would be proactively going out and bigging you up. You know what I mean? They're having a hype man, you know, and telling everybody how fucking good you are. You know, which is so I bet this manager, and I was like, I don't understand why I would need you. What is it? You know, and how much do you take? And so, you know, people out there that have got a manager and agent and lawyer, blah blah blah, are earning half of what they're earning.
It's all going out on them.
You're getting 12 million for this film. You're getting 6, which is still fucking amazing, but you're not getting all of that. You know, so managers and agents are making a lot of money.
Huge incentive.
Of course, it is. You know, it's not a huge incentive for a job an actor would be. Do you know what I mean? I can't wait to get 10%. It has 10 grand. Do you know what I mean? It's not really, you know, it's not really drive them unless they believe in you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I love the job, but I'm quite lazy when it comes to all the stuff that surrounds it. I'm not a business heavy.
I heard that basically, and this was on a few actors talking on one of the podcasts I heard, where an actress who was brilliant for a specific role was perfect, much better than the person the actor cast, didn't get it because the social media following was bigger than the one they actually went for. And that's more eyes on the. I mean, it makes sense to go with someone that has a big following online, but not necessarily the best actor for, you know.
Do you know what? If I ever get passed up for a job because the other person has more Twitter followers, I don't want the job.
Aye.
I'm not interested. I'm not interested. That's nothing to do with art. That's to do with commerce and selling, and I'm nothing to do with that.
So it's more to do with fame than actually the job.
I think in the stage magazine years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, was the first time I'd read that, you know, when going for an audition for a West End show, you have to take along your socials, how many followers you've got on Twitter, how many people, you know, your friends on Facebook, how much of a presence you've got on Instagram as part of your audition. That's mental. But these theatres are competing with lots. They're all competing with each other. So any edge that they can get to get bums on seats, if they've got to spend that ridiculous amount of money for those tickets, I suppose they're just trying to do whatever they can, you know. But that spells the end of any kind of, you know, honesty, integrity and heart and the art of those things. You know what I mean? So it's no longer the best person for the job. It's the best person that be doing Instagram or tweeting. So it's just a very strange thing, you know. It's very strange. Not one I understand.
I find that through doing this podcast, I can relate to certain different things. Like, for example, a lot of the stuff that we've been like blessed to do has come through networking. Like, I find that a lot of the time we'll speak to someone and they're like, well, he's actually my mate. Do you want me to speak to him? And we're like, we never expect that. But the fact you pretty much put us on everybody and I think, right?
It's good, man. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed everybody getting a wee chance to talk about it. Next to the other thing, everybody do it. You're going to be visit that show, you know, it's a big thing.
Amazing show. And a lot of people got to actually discover that as well. People that watch the show. And again, they always the same question. When's season 3 come? I'm like, I'll go back and listen to every episode. It's all there. Do you think that a big part of getting jobs in the acting world, because it's like, I think Matt Damon got really offended at a reporter asked him that very question, like the stability of being able to work in the acting business. It's like you're essentially putting your bag on your back and going without knowing. Like, if I apply for a job, tells me what I get paid a month, tells me it's a permanent contract, unless I screw up, right? So then you don't get that really with acting unless you're on a soap opera or you are on something.
But even then, it's no guaranteed. I mean, it's not like I signed the contract, mate, that's me in the city until I decide to leave.
Yeah.
You know, if it wasn't me saying, you know, I could very easily have been in going, you're not coming back.
Yeah.
You know, and actors that were on that for 12, 13, 14, 15 years were on a 3-month by 3-month contract. contract basis, you know. So everybody, and that's a wee way to keep everybody in line. I think, you know, everybody take it sort of. You shaking there, you know what I mean?
A sugary peg.
You know, it's like anybody can go at any time. So you better behave yourselves, especially people. I mean, to go back to the days of when I first started acting, a lot of actors would talk about taking the high road the same way that people talk about River City now.
Mhm.
And the people that were in there, and people that kind of spent their entire lives in that show doing that, you know. And when that was cancelled, it was like the end of the world for these people, you know. And certainly not for everybody, but for some of them, do you know what I mean? It's like that. I've got a big mortgage, a huge house. I live according to my means because I was getting paid a good wage doing that. And I've been in it for years, and it felt like it was never going to end.
Then boom.
So shows like that can lull you into a very false sense of security. So I think it's a good thing then that they do them by rolling contracts. You know, I mean, I don't know, they might have them on contracts for life now for all I know, you know, it's been a long time since I was in it. But a lot of my good friends are still in that show, you know what I mean? I wish they, you know, nothing but the best for something I watch, but you know, and I love to get more people to fight for it now as well, who are great, so hopefully that, you know, it's going to be sort of a bit.
I've got another question here from Michaela.
she's loving this.
Michaela, you can go get a coffee, Michaela.
She's an upcoming actress, so she's definitely going to be picking your brain.
So am I. I've been coming for 30 years.
She says, I was told recently that I have to refrain from writing acting classes on my resume that have less than 3 months worth of training with an instructor. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't really have any. I mean, I've never done an acting class.
Never?
No, an acting class. I mean, I did a year at Langside. Fucking hated it. I was always like a show off and a kid who wanted to sing and dance when I was young, you know. So I was telling people I was going to be an actor when I was in primary school. So I always knew that it was something I wanted to do. So, you know, you get sidetracked and you get put up, and then I quit my YTS. And I'm getting off track here, Michaela. I'll welcome back. A wee story about myself first. No, I won't.
I think the spirit of that picture's getting into you.
I don't know much about that. I think your CV is for work. Training would be they would want to know about, you know, colleges, places that have, you know, that carry a bit of weight, you know, the Conservatoire, RADA, you know, all these, you know, places down in London and places all over, and Edinburgh, Queen Margaret and stuff like that. That to me has always been, doing an acting class should be a personal thing. That's you getting better. I think it's brilliant. I started running an improv class, not that I knew all about improv, but I got a group of actors together 10 years ago because I was bored and I was constantly suffering from post-job depression. It was a very real thing. It is a very real thing. I went, no, I'm not doing this anymore. And a friend of mine in London was doing these improv workshops, and he got this book called The Truth in Comedy. Michaela, get a hold of it. It's amazing. Truth and Comedy. And it's like an improvisation kind of manual, you know, and it's fantastic. And I got a copy of this book and I read it and I went, I want to do this in a room with loads of people. So I put the feelers out, and I asked about 40 actors. I'm going to get a room. Do you want to come and play? And about 25 turned up the first time. It was amazing. I liked playing games and I think I stuff in the book and it was cracking. And then the next one, it was like 18. And then the next one, there was maybe about 12. And that lasted for maybe, 6 months. People would come and go. There was always a 4 group of about 7 people who were always there every week. And we did that for 7 years. And the 7 of us.
Goldie Gordon.
Goldie Gordon. All that stuff.
Yeah.
The short films that came out of it, the live shows that we did. And that was us doing it off our own back. You know, now, I did that for years and years, and I never put on a CD any of the shows that we did or the short films that we did because it was personal. And that, for me, it gave me such personal growth. It was worth more than anything on my CV. So, you know, if you're doing these classes, I think it's an amazing thing. You're getting something out of it to make you a better actor. That's the important thing. If they don't want that on a CV, take it out.
See if Michaela was to make one of those classes herself, would you attend?
Probably not. Very nice, Michaela. I don't know. I mean, I don't like saying promise anything on here. Oh, does he not? It could be working in America or something. Probably wouldn't. I'd probably come. I'm going to start them back up. I'm actually starting. I've got a space, and I've been talking about doing. And I actually taught after the 7 years of doing that. I started teaching improv classes and hosting. I think teaching's such a weird thing because you're not really teaching anything. You're giving people a space and the tools to explore what it is that makes them a good actor. Everybody's got it in them, everybody's got the ability to improvise and create and make art with themselves, not a Jackson Pollock kind of way, but make to create something from their imagination. So I'm going to start that up again. I'm going to start up improv classes again and the spaces for people. So I'll let these know. But Kelly, you can come along and try and check it out.
Sure,
Don't put it on your CV. They'll get it.
When you do so, let us know. We will run free ads on our
Excellent.
podcast to let every upcoming know that when it's happening, where it is.
Brilliant.
So that'd be fun.
I'm definitely going to start that next year. I've got the space and just kind of working at the logistics of it. But I mean, I watched the Kaminsky experience. Did you watch that? The
Kaminsky, mate, that was fucking hilarious. Michael Douglas and Alan Alda.
Oh my God, it's one of the best pieces of television I've ever seen in my life.
It was great.
I've devoured it in a week. I watched every episode in a week.
I think I've only seen the first series.
Just better.
Brilliant.
Fantastic, right? And I really dig those American style acting classes where you come prepared, you've learned a bit, and you come in and everybody just talks it up. You have a discussion about what it is you've done. See that openness? I think that's kind of lacking in our zeitgeist of being an actor, of just getting into a room with people and exploring text and stuff, rather than having to go to a college or a workshop. We're running 7 workshops over a week, and it's going to cost you £500. And you know what I mean?
Morning's freezer.
I've had people ask me to do them, and they're like, "Oh, we can make grand money." And I'm like, "No, God, no," because I know that people would come. I don't know that I've got enough to offer to you know what I mean? I don't know that I've got enough to offer. I'm sure I have. I've got experience and I've got an abundance of chat. And you should have people on my chat. You know, I my chat with you.
Thanks for that. We'll pay for the taxi next time, though.
Get me drunk and then
We'll get taken off YouTube.
I like the idea of getting into a room with like-minded people. So I would say, Michaela, if you've got friends who are also in the same kind of boat as you, get a room, find a play, get some text, get some scenes, and fucking read them and then put them on their feet. And over the space of 3 or 4 weeks, work that material yourself. It's great fun. It's a great thing to do, and it's brilliant. And that, without anybody really puppeteering you, it's a great way to try and kind of work, because acting's a team sport, right? It's definitely about working well as a unit, right? When there's a C unit next Tuesday in the company, everybody fucking knows who it is, because they can't play as part of a team, It's brilliant in that Big Truth in Comedy. There's a wee bit in it. A guy wins an award for acting, and he gets up and he apologises and says, "I'm sorry, I may try harder next time, because my job is to make everybody else look good, because that's what they've done with me, is make me look good. I've clearly taken more than I've given."
That's a good.
Because I stood out to everybody,
Yep.
And if everybody's working in that ethos, the piece as a whole becomes something really special and magic. It's a great thing. It's a very competitive game, actor. Everybody wants to kind of, you don't see it, but it's happening. There's somebody kind of stepped on your face. There's somebody walking on your grave. You're like, "Oh, actors just stood on their face." It's the same kind of vibe, the same kind of feeling.
Michaela says, "I'll be there." So
Excellent.
you've already got someone.
That's one.
I actually think you would be a great bad guy in Dexter. You've got a look about you, right? You're not the constant crowd of the series, right? Since Highlander.
My hope.
Yeah.
From when I was young, do you know what I mean? Highlander, the first thing, I think, and then Whenever you hear that voice,
Shawshank.
this will be good. You know, I don't think he's
Mr.
ever been in it. Do you know, it was years of watching that with the kids
With
until I
your
found out
eyes.
it was him. I'm not going to watch the titles in SpongeBob, do you know what I mean? But then when I found out, no, what's this?
Do you know, I was watching Highlander with my son. He's probably a wee bit too young, but I was like, fuck it, I'll show him it.
I was watching
So-
The Exorcist and shit when I was his
I know, it's no good for you. So I was watching that, and he got a bit. It was the bit where Ramirez dies. The Kurgan comes into the tower, and at that point, he started to check out a wee bit. He was getting a wee bit kind of scared, and I went, "Money, do you know that's Mr. Krabs?" And as soon as I said that, he tuned right back in again. He was like, "It was just Mr. Krabs."
That's mental.
Going in the end of the film when Mr. Krabs dies.
I don't think we made it to the end, unfortunately. But aye, it was a nice bonding experience with Mr. Krabs. Bonding with crabs is never normally a good thing.
No, not with your son. For sure.
That's usually you,
Fucking hell. Right.
Another soap opera. Like, so if you got somebody comes up to you like, hey, we have these lists of soap operas that are available to you.
If I could choose one to be in, EastEnders.
And who would you want to play?
I knew Scottish Heartman.
Aye.
Aye, brilliant. I remember Gerard Kelly doing it, and I was like, he was brilliant in that. Do you know what I mean? And they don't really have that anymore. They don't really. I don't remember the last time like a right bad bastard, Scottish bastard.
Trevor.
Trevor, aye.
We tried to get him on the show.
I think it's a bit time they had another one, so you know, big shout out to the casting people. I'd love to do EastEnders. I think I'd be a hoot.
So you'd want to play the bad guy that has a heart, or just the bad guy?
I don't care as long as they're paid, as long as the wages be a bad guy, good guy, any guy, anything you want. English, Scottish, whatever you like.
I mean, surely a phone call to EastEnd, somebody at EastEnd.
Yeah, that's how it works. What is my agent been doing all these years? I'm going to go on your remote and say, listen, I was speaking to a guy last night. You should just phone how? I can't believe it. 30 years and then it rang. I do love those soaps. I think those really long running soaps are brilliant, and they're really hard to get into. You know, I remember watching a documentary about the audition process for Casualty for 2 new nurses, and they did a documentary about it, and the hoops and the amount of screen tests those girls had to do to get into Casualty was quite something, you know.
Right.
So it's not easy. You can't, you know, if you're really famous already, you know, you're Shane Ritchie, I don't know, he's the only one.
Danny Dyer.
You know, then brilliant. It's a coup for them. It's a real thing for them.
You're Stephen McCole.
You ask anybody in EastEnders, they'll go, who?
I'm asking for my work, and they'll say, oh yeah.
Your fuck is me, Albert Square.
It feels like it made a bit of fucking drama that goes on there.
How great would that be, eh? If any time an argument was to kick off, somebody had that drum kit. Just go. Aye.
I think a lot of progress this season. I think it's super camp and a lot of fun. And I used to watch. I don't watch them now, but I wasn't into football or anything when I was a kid, you know. So I kind of got into it in my later 20s, you know. And it was my decision, not just because you grew up. When I was young, it was all about showing off for my mom and the aunties, you know, doing impersonations of soap characters and, you know, singing songs and stuff like that. And so I used to, that's where I was. I would watch the soaps from my mom. So I was right into the soaps when I was like, sure.
Paul actually told us, or was it you told us about Paul? One of you ran out that door because your dad scared you.
Oh no, it's my grandpa. My grandpa used to play this thing with jackets and an old man mask and make himself look like something like a Del Toro for me. And he came out the room and all the every door in the house was glass, and it wasn't like one of them glass.
It's like a sugar glass.
I ran through one, and then they just replaced the bit of glass with another. My cousin John or Barry did one of them, ran through it, and this brilliant. You know, the memories of my dad are just brilliant. I mean, the funniest, and he loved to scare us. I love a horror movie, just being shit, scared, knowing it's all right, but at the same time going, at night knowing I think I'm going to pee myself.
That's brilliant. I mean, you could take that scenario maybe and even write something really cool that would. I mean, imagine a Goosebumps kind of analogy where the memory of a granddad's scare becomes its own episode. That'd be pretty cool. I would write
You're right,
that.
okay.
There you go.
Oh, you need these offer it to me. Yes.
Okay, I wrote that thing, Stephen. You want to read it?
No. Once it's going to be that good that you'll need to tell your agent to phone us. That's what it will
I
be.
do that even if somebody offers something. I get offered things on like Facebook. So somebody will send me a message on Facebook and go, I've got a film. Brilliant. I've got an agent.
Actually, I want to thank your agent for actually asking you if you'd do this the first time, because I think a lot of agents just go, it's not worth anybody's time.
Yeah, they just think it keeps them busy. He's not doing anything else. I
wonder if that's.
And thanks to you as well for actually doing it. It's fucking great. I love this stuff.
You know, as I said, it's, you know, if I'm at a party or if I'm out and people want to talk to me about being an actor, I can't stand it. Do you know what I mean? I'm just like, but I do love talking about it with people that are interested. Do you know what I mean? But no drunk people.
Aye.
Just want gossip, or you know what I mean? They want to know how much you earn.
You're fucking brilliant in that fucking thing.
But it's better than somebody just going up and going, I saw you in that thing last night. Oh, did you? Oh, you're shite. And walk away. And like, that's not keep right back on.
That's serious.
It's never happened. No, it's not for a while.
Fuck.
Electric Blues.
Electric Blues, aye.
Brilliant.
Did you see it?
Of course, aye.
Yeah.
That's
A directorial debut.
My favourite one part had me howling. I think I've told you this before. It's the scene, like, it's obviously, I think it was your first movie you told me. It's playing on the TV and you're like, fuck off.
That's the film I was on.
Dead Eye Dick.
Yeah. Part is called Coil. So I thought when I was doing my first film, I put my first acting role on the telly when I was in the house.
I just heard your voice. How many times did you get shot?
Quite a lot.
I didn't watch that. It's a shame that like it's not easily accessible. I think I watched it on Vimeo. Was it yourself that sent me? Or
I think it's only on Vimeo. But it was on the telly.
Brilliant though.
You know what I mean? It was partly, I can't remember the scheme that it was part of.
Right.
But it was like 4 films that got 50 grand funding to make it short.
Right.
And we made that. And then they screened them in the Edinburgh Festival in a cinema. And we got that bit where the bit comes up and it was like this massive like 12, 14-foot penis on the screen glowing blue, and I'm like, it's still one of the proudest moments. They managed to get that in, but it was even better that when they screened it on the telly, they didn't cut that out, so you still had it, veins and all, pulsating on the screen. Can't be many people that get away with that, surely.
I thought that was brilliant. Yourself, John Rooney and Paul. So John Rooney
and Paul wrote it, Paul starred in it, and I directed it.
I think that's a good wee team. Would you like to do something with your brother again in the future?
I'd love to do stuff with him. We do bits of music and stuff. You know, I think Paul's a brilliant songwriter and guitarist, and he's doing some of that. He's actually just been he's just signed up to do the musical version of Orphans. You know, this is
brilliant. Oh, I didn't know about that.
National Theatre Scotland have been working to turn Orphans into a musical, right? So Cora Bissett, who was in was directing it, right?
Your phone's going to go.
Scotty Hart, who does like he won, I want to say an Emmy, the music for Animaniacs.
Oh, we are
I don't think he did that one. I think it was like I don't know what he did, but Roger's a brilliant musician and composer, and they worked on all these songs.
I heard an interview with him on the radio a few months ago. That's maybe what it was about, because I missed the start of the interview. So I didn't hear the title of what we were talking about.
Just I think we rehearsal start proper soon. But so Robert Florence, who's doing Games Master.
Games Master's back. Did you know this? I saw one the other day. It was brilliant. And Trevor McDonald he sounds just like Patrick Moore. It's class.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say because Rob told me no, I'm not pregnant. So
Oh,
just in case.
Well, wait till we stop recording and we will actually stop recording this thing.
So you're going to be part of that as well?
No. I mean, Cora had said to me one night we were actually at the book launch for the Brickbox, the book about the Archies.
Right, yeah.
The lad's written a wee bit, I was actually writing a wee bit in it, so I'm in the book, which is amazing. A wee bit that I wrote. So I'm not published, and I'm not published, but I'm not in the book.
Chuck it in the Bible.
I'll stick that in my CV. Everybody see that. And we were chatting afterwards. Cora was there, you know, and she was like, "Oh, I was trying to say, I'm sorry, I didn't, like, you know, it feels really weird that doing this, and I didn't ask you again." I'm like, "How did I say no?" You know, I mean, I appreciate that, but there is no way I would have done a musical version of a film that I was in 25 years ago. I think it's brilliant that you're doing it, but there's nothing in that for me to go and do that again. I've already done that version of it. I think it's right that it's completely. I can't sing it or play it. It's a musical. What would you offer me in it, really? You know, he's Paul's a great singer and he's playing a great character in it. So
that's class. It goes to show you that nothing is untouchable when it comes to a musical. You can pretty much do it with anything.
I mean, I would never have thought in a million years if somebody said, "Could you turn that into a musical?" Like, no. People like Cora and Roddy, that is what they do.
Yeah.
You know, they can. I think we could probably write a song about anything, but you know, the story's great. You know, it comes from a very cult kind of place. So yeah, why not give it a different, more unusual life? And if people go and see the play and haven't seen the film, maybe they'll go and see the film. You know, get it by the DVD.
I've only standards. That's like, yo, Steve McCole's class.
I think we've already touched on it and get used to know. Already touched on it and get used to it, you know.
See when you're doing all.
Imagine if
I did though. Imagine if I phoned these standards and I was like, Steven, they're literally like,
See when you're doing auditions and stuff, do you tend to go up for one thing at a time and then wait until you get an answer, or do you just go hell for leather?
Well, I mean, it's not like there's a website of auditions that you go and go, well, today I'll choose to do 3 or 4. They come to me, I'll do them. So
right.
I booked a holiday with a wife, and I had told my agent months in advance, don't put me up for anything. I'm away for those 7 days. 7 days, me and the wife, just going to go and get that next. Coming just along after I finished film checking. So, you know, nothing for ages, and then just before it, in fact, the day I was about to leave, there's 2 auditions. We need to be in by Wednesday. I'm away on holiday, and I fly away tomorrow. I won't have time to do these. Yeah, and they were massive jobs.
Right.
Almost too big. You know, there's a point where the joke is too so big, and you're going, but there's absolutely no fucking. I mean, it's a million to one shot that I'm going to land this gig.
Yeah.
You know, because I read it and I'm going, why are they not just offer this thing? And you might look at me and go, oh, you're being really good on yourself, Stephen. You're great, actually.
You can read it like a fucking book.
But it's happened before. You know, I've auditioned for a thing, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm so close, and then going, they've just offered it to somebody really famous. I went, has he done 4 auditions? No, they've just offered it to him. Well, what happens if he says no? Then there's another couple of famous people that are going to offer it to him. So why have I done all these auditions and knocked my fan in and paid all that money up in London, and you know, I'm auditioning to be the backup to the backup to the backup. And you know, so once I've been through that, I know that certain jobs, I can imagine 10 people straight after that that would get offered that before me. Then I know that the character's going to have to be, as soon as I need it, or I need to try, I need to go for it. But these jobs weren't that. They were huge. I want huge musical And another one was like a massive fantasy film, which I'd love to be in either of these. That's amazing, but I'm going on holiday 12 months ago. So I'm doing, and you know, and my wife was very grateful because I had to learn a song. And today, that 2 days of those 7 days would be gone.
Mm.
And me 20 years ago would have cancelled the holiday
Right.
audition for them.
Yeah.
I was so desperate for luck was I. And, you know, I think that's probably right when you're a young actor and you're starting it. You know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with absolutely sacrificing. I mean, I think it was easily a 12 to 15 year period in my life that I never went on holiday in case I missed an audition.
Right.
15 years of never going away on abroad, never going anywhere because I was scared I would miss it on something.
Mm.
And you hear about, you know, stories about, you know, like Kevin McCole having such a big part in Trainspotting, but when they were doing the photo shoot for the poster, he went on holiday. So he was nailing the poster.
I didn't even know that.
Which makes his character, you don't really get the sense that he's as big in it as he should be, as he should be. He's massive in the film, and it's such an important and brilliant character. But he should have been on that poster.
Yep.
I don't even know if that's true, but that was the story that went about
The urban legend.
The urban legend. I might say the urban legend. So, you know, you hear things like that as a young actor, like, oh, I can never leave the phone. I can never leave very far away because I need to be ready to end.
Sitting by the phone like Colin.
I think that's quite right. That's a good attitude to have if you're a young actor and this is all you want to be available at all times for everything. You know what I mean?
That's definitely a sacrifice to be made.
It didn't feel like it at the time,
Mm-hmm.
but now that you're older, you know, my wife's only got certain times of the year because she's a teacher. She's only got certain times of the year that she can go on holiday.
Yep.
Can't do anything, so you have to go out. Okay, we'll do that, and I'll give you all of me while we're doing it. You know, imagine being on holiday in a film, having to feel all right, going down the lines and set up a camera and self-tape. And what a white was for, so what a look, I would love to.
Yeah, I think that's quite cool that you've managed to, like, you see all these wrestlers, sports people, actors, where they go tunnel vision on their career, and it's their home life suffers because of it. It's good that you've actually got that balance where you can go, do you know what? No, it's like there's my life, and then there's the work.
Well, that was my holiday. I didn't really put across anything cyclists. I never get anything worked out because there are plenty of people that could instantly join this conversation and shut that down. So, you know, that's one instance when talking about specifically about auditions. But yeah, I don't have much figured out, to be honest.
I mean, when you think about it as a human race, none of us really have it figured out, like on the grand scheme of things. I think life is the motto I always go by is have fun, see what happens.
But this is true, you know, and money won't buy you happiness, but it'll buy you a nicer house. And a nicer house will probably make you happier. So fuck that. See,
I think it's. I think that's a load of fish.
Some people shouldn't have your jet skis.
You know, I said this to you before. Like Bryan Cranston, good actor, done good work throughout his career, but didn't. He became like he says he's walking into shops and there was coasters with his face on it. Like that's how popular he became, right? And all it done really when he became Heisenberg, and that took his career in a completely different. And he was well into his 50s when that happened. He says he would prefer his life to be that way because he basically loved acting, and now that he's at this point, that it was like he could then choose his roles, and it was all about that. If you look at a lot of the stuff he does, he's a very in his full book. He's a guy like yourself that believes in the project, you know what I mean, and the role and what it actually is, rather than being famous or having all the trivial stuff. I would recommend that book. Have you read that book?
No, I haven't. I think he's a fascinating actor, you know, a fascinating person, and I think his thing about auditions really resonated with me, you know, and it's like, don't try and give them what they want. You can only give them what you've got.
Yeah.
You know, So your interpretation of a character, how you would like to play it. I did an audition for something and I had to self-tape and I fucking cracked a wee character in my thing. I went, this is something really cheeky. There's a bit of fun about it. You know what I mean? Is it kind of lost in his thoughts and kind of telling this story and great. Got a second audition, went in, was given all these compliments. Oh, brilliant! The only one that nailed it now, did it completely differently. So I had to then reshoot the audition, doing counterintuitive to all my instincts about that character.
Yeah.
And it felt so wrong, and you kind of got to go in there and do your tones. You kind of walk out of the money, you try it this way, and you go, no, fuck off. You're not going to get the job either way. So you need to try, but while you're doing it, this doesn't feel right. This isn't how I see it. This isn't how I want to play it. So I'm playing the game now until I get the job. I can get in there, talk to the director, I can give him my version.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think I remember you telling us about your Rushmore audition, where you just, where you kind of went against that. It was just like,
Yes, I was slapping.
Mason Gamble.
No, it was a stand.
Oh, right.
Another young Scottish actor who was auditioning for the Max Fisher character. Slapped and ragdolled a bit of it.
I had never watched Rushmore initially, right? But I'd grown up being a massive fan of Dennis, the movie that Mason's most known for. And then I saw that you were bullying Mason. I was like, no way. Was he all right to work? He was a bit younger than you.
Really nice. I think Arlington Road had just come out when he was working. So I was very impressed with his work on that. And it was really nice. His dad kind of looked after him. His dad was his chaperone and was an actor as well, I think. He had a card on the card that said actor dad, so I don't know whether that was because he was his chaperone or not. But they were lovely. And then I went and saw The Matrix in the cinema with both of them, Mason and his dad. He was a very grounded kid. I remember that about Mason, and everybody on that show was fantastic. All the young kids were great.
It was good to see. Obviously, when I'd never watched Rushmore, but then I saw it as a younger version of you, which was very class. Because
it was a younger version.
Everything we hear is a younger version of you, really.
We all knew that.
Just recently, a younger version.
We all knew someone like that at our school. You see, embodied what a Scottish bully was like, which was class. And I even was like, it's not as real yet. It's not as real yet. That wasn't real yet. Who said this?
No, he got it fixed.
Prop cheese. Sorry, I asked
Prop cheese. That's right. Remember that? I had something coming off the back of that. It's fucking gone. That annoys me. Prop cheese put me off, as it should, to be honest. Fuck. a nice wee dry spell. I'm drying up now. That's fucking brutal.
That's not good when you're the host or something.
I mean, I think that's where I was going.
Let me ask you a question then. When you watch something, because you do this podcast and you're so invested in film, is it because when you're an actor, when you're involved in it, sometimes it's hard to not see behind the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't really fully enjoy something because you're thinking about all the other shit that's going on. It used to when I first started acting, it was impossible. I couldn't enjoy anything. You know what I mean? Now I enjoy it, but with the caveat, I appreciate all the work that was in it. I appreciate all the effort that's went in, especially when something looks really good or really floats my boat. Science fiction really floats my boat. I was watching a thing recently, Dark Matter. Watched it all on Amazon and I absolutely fucking loved it. And then they stopped it and cancelled before they did the last series. And I'm so raging at the bully the guy that paid for it. That's what I'm telling him. You're amazing and this is amazing. And I don't normally do that. You know what I mean? So when you're watching something, do you find it hard to switch that part of yourself off? Or are you always looking at the finer points and stuff that you watch?
To be honest, I think certainly for me, I enjoy that. I watch the film first, and just as a viewer, and then I'll watch it again with the other head on. I think trying to do it at the same time, especially if it's something I'm watching for the first time, I struggle with. So I'll watch the film and then I'll watch it again with two different heads.
With the reviewers head on. Interesting.
I kind of do that. I'm more skeptical. When I watch something, for me, it's no, like, you could have a low budget, right? For me, it's an experience. Like Lemmy actually said it best, when a dog puts its head out the window, right, and its ears are going, and it's in the car, right, it doesn't stop and question it. Why is that like that? It just enjoys the ride and what's happening in that moment. And for me, it's that. What will annoy me is when something doesn't make sense and takes me out, like, oh, what? Like, I'm trying to think of something will come to me.
Pandemic, shock and terror.
No, that was classic. For example, I will love movies that people will hate, and I'll say, I stand by it. 10 out of 3, stand by it. I enjoyed it. To me, it makes
I
something
enjoy
different.
all movies like that. There's a certain formula in an action film,
Yeah.
or a certain formula in a horror film, or a certain genre movies have a certain formula, and if you just follow that formula, people like us will fucking enjoy it.
Mm.
You know, and watching it with somebody that needs more, it's really annoying.
Are you a horror fan?
Somebody that questions, oh, why is he doing that? Because it's a fucking film.
Yeah.
Are you a horror fan?
I love horror, right?
Have you seen the newest Halloween movie?
I haven't, not yet.
Right, I will skip past that then.
I said, though, it was what it needed to be. I went in that
I mean,
movie.
feel free to spoil it,
Oh, no,
because
I
it'll
won't.
be the same as every other Halloween film.
No,
So,
completely different. For me,
shut up then.
no, but here's the thing.
I-
No, no.
I'm gonna tell you in a bit. All I'll say is that it's I'm aware it's a trilogy, so it's a 3-part story, right? It was exactly what it needed to be. Going into that movie, I said, "Here's what I'm expecting," and I got everything I was expecting, right? Because it was almost formulaic in the same that, you know, the original 3 Star Wars movies, and that formula is what I believe they're doing. So people will say, "Oh, Halloween Kills is missing this. It didn't have enough of this." But we're getting there. This is part of the bigger picture, and I was happy because of that. If you watch it as a standalone movie, you
I
can see that.
loved all the Halloween films. I was a huge Halloween fan. I loved all the Freddy films. I loved all the Jason films. I love all that nonsense.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I don't get enough out of them these days that I can just watch them all. Like, I had Shudder for a while on Amazon, and I was like, I'm not watching any of this.
Aye.
You know, it's really not clever enough for me now. Do you know what I mean? They're just a bit of blood and guts, or a leprechaun running about stabbing people.
Maybe back of gold.
Like Hereditary was the last proper holy shit
People
moment
shit on
when I
that.
was watching down there. Idiots, and they
What?
don't know what I'm talking about.
That's me. I found it really creepy, and up until the last 10 minutes, and then
That will not spoil it for anybody, but that way with Tony Collette is just.
Mhm.
I
The
was
sound,
not
the
expecting
sound.
it. I was not expecting the sound. I'm not expecting it. I was literally screaming, "What the fuck?" when I was watching it, and it was just brilliant.
But you know as well, for a horror movie as well, a lot of horror movies will just, "Oh, your dad stayed. Keep running." Oh, we skip past that. We can enter spoiler land. It's been out now in a month, right? That part,
You can. I'm not going to be held responsible for it. You see what
the
you're
part when a
I've
certain
seen it.
character loses his heat, right? You feel that grief. Part of that movie then becomes grief, and you see that, and you start to feel that. Horror movies don't always take you there. It's just a quick she's.
Well, it's interesting because it doesn't really feel like a horror movie for the whole film.
Yeah.
There's horrific things, and it's definitely got that underlying Rosemary's Baby kind of simmering real menace through it. But there's another layer in that film, which is why I think it's so good that it's so compelling to watch.
I always think the scariest ones are where you think, if I was away at a cabin, could this happen? And probably
The
right.
thing is, you'd be able to see if you've never seen a horror film in your life, right?
Mhm.
And you would go away and get a cabin in the woods. A family had a cabin next to a lake, right? So you'd go there and then you'd go to the pub, you'd walk out to the pub where it was light, and you'd have a few drinks. And then there's like a fucking 30-minute walk back there, pitch.
Country dark.
Country dark.
Aye.
You know? And I've got the phone out with the talks, and she's like, la 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 la. I'm like,
It's-
I was freaked out. Like, what is wrong with you? The only reason that you are so cool was because you don't know how many maniacs are actually in these woods. Looking at us. But, I love that. I love being scared. I love the. Like my wife will say, "Why would I want to put myself through that?"
I still,
It's one emotion I don't want to invite on myself. I understand that, but
There's a thrill.
it's an adrenaline rush.
because you know it's a thrill, but it's a safe thrill.
I still see if I'm the last one going to bed when you put all the lights out. I still get that feeling going up the stairs like my arse is trying to run in front of me. Do you know that feeling? And then you can run the last few steps in your room. You're like, you're fucking 37.
I find some of the simplest things can make such a big difference. For example, people shit on this again because there's been how many of them, right? But Paranormal Activity.
Never seen one of them.
Oh,
Never seen a one.
well, when the first one came out, for me, it was all this is different from the watch. I used to spend all my wages going to cinema, right? When I was younger and all that. And I went to see this, and the scariest part for me was there was no credits. I was like, there's no credits, this must be real. And then they know straight away. It ends after, because you're watching it through the lens of CCTV, or somebody's baby monitor, and all this shit is going on. The way they had promoted it wasn't that this was a movie made to be a movie.
So it's after the back of that Blair Witch
Right.
Found footage
Right.
kind of scenario, but a different way of doing it.
So I'm like, this is creepy, I'm glad this is fake, this is creepy, I'm glad this is fake. The movie's done, no credits. The lights come on the sun, I'm like, that shit wasn't real.
For me, like
It's so simple, and it's like so effective.
the Blair Witch Project actually kind of. I mean, I had the first ever viral marketing campaign online. By having the website set up with the missing posters and all that, it was fucking genius. But then at the end of the film, there's credits, and that's where they went wrong. If they'd left the credits off, I think it could have went for years with people thinking it was genuine because it was so original. And I remember watching that for the first time and shitting myself. And it's on your own mind. If you don't have a good imagination, it's a crap film.
I saw the parody first.
Right.
It's not coming at the nose and getting back.
Scary movie, yeah.
I just couldn't watch it. I can't take this film. I come back to like old horror movies like Ride with the Devil, you know, like old, dusty American satanic kind of worshippers.
Aye.
Those kind of things, you know what I mean? And that's when I was growing up watching horror. It wasn't particularly well made. But there was this creepiness that they go into, right? And if films got that element to that underlying feeling of creep.
Remember we spoke to Tibor Takas, you know who he is, right? He made a movie called The Gate. I'm going to tell you a funny story.
Yeah, the thing was good, aye.
Right, well, we had him on.
Stephen Dorff.
He said, aye.
Oh, some Stephen.
No, you've said that. But he said that's called enchantment. Something that you don't get a lot now in movies, and it does pop up sometimes, but it's like an enchantment now. We had Tibor Takas on this show, right? Because one night I put on the Blu-ray of The Gate, just the same thing. So get this, he texted me, he goes, mate, I'm watching The Gate. I was like, you're fucking no. I take a picture of my telly, like, we're both watching The Gate at the same time. Would it ever saying we're going to watch The Gate? What's the chances? Hey mate, what you should do is get a hold of Tibor Takas. That'd be great to talk about the making of this movie because of how well done it was. Class. Now, at this point, people kept saying J-Mac looked like Ron Perlman, right? Present.
I can see that.
Right?
Fucking thanks. That's awesome.
He changed his profile picture on Facebook to Ron Perlman, right? And his mum even was like, I hate when you use those agent apps. He's like, that's not me, that's Ron Perlman, right? No. He's got his Facebook profile picture as Ron Perlman. And I think he'd had a few drinks.
I was pissed,
He's the most nervous of us both, right? And he's like, right, I'm quite pissed. And I started handing him contact info for agents. I'm like, right. And I'm like, he's actually phoning them because we usually just email.
No, I actually found them on Facebook.
But that's the thing. But what I'm saying is, because he was quite pissed, he was phoning. And so, like, because they were in America, the time difference was fine. This was quite late. Yeah, nothing was happening. He found Tibor on Facebook, right? Had the wee blue text, and knew it was him, right? And tried to like messenger call Tibor, right? Nothing happens, right? And then Tibor messaged him back. And what did he say?
He just said call again. I was like,
again.
oh fuck.
So
Must have thought you were going terrible.
He did!
That's amazing.
He thought I was Ron Perlman using a pseudonym.
He's like, hey, so what's the deal? Because he's like, hi, I'd love to have you on the podcast. I'm like, oh, so what's the deal with you using Rand's picture?
It was hilarious, man. And it just, I don't think it would have, like, it would never have happened if I hadn't had that as my profile picture. I wasn't trying to catfish anybody. That was just because it was funny.
It's a great way to get people on your show.
Fuck.
Just find out who they love, catfish the shit out of them. That's brilliant.
Can you send money in a Nigerian bank account, please?
Just a simple phone call, and he came on. Like, and he's done some of the like stuff. Sabrina Teenage Witch.
Right?
Ron Perlman was one of my favourite actors of all time. So I mean, just some iconic characters.
Aye.
Over the years.
Hellboy isn't it? Like, Hellboy's good for me.
Hellboy's great. I think it was a great adaptation. What he did with that character was brilliant, and it's untouchable. You know, I really love David Albert, but
It wasn't for him.
You can't touch what he's done.
It's like Robert England.
It's already been done. You know, it's like Robert England thing. You can't do it.
They're still around. Why not give us more of what we love?
Well, exactly. And but you know, come back to like City of Lost Children, phenomenal. Just brilliant, man. I absolutely love them. And did you? But the last thing we were speaking, I was telling you about The Last Supper. Did you watch it?
The Last Supper. Did we watch that?
No.
You need to get hold of The Last
The Last
Supper.
Supper. Is Ron Perlman in that?
Ron Perlman's in it. Cameron Diaz. It's a whole great cast list. Ali Sheedy. Brilliant. It's about this group of pseudo-intellectual 30-something or 20-somethings that host a dinner party every Friday night. And one of them wants to bring a guest to the dinner party to liven up the chat, the intellectual chat that they're going up. So, you know, they'll bring a Bible professor or whatever. But they all share this, so some of them are related, so they're all 8 or 9 of them. And one of the guys turns up, brilliant actor, I can't remember his name just now, but he turns up with Bill Paxton.
Right.
Who's helped him.
A lot of people in this.
Bill Paxton.
And he's a mad redneck, kind of right wing, and they're all left wing, kind of liberal pseudo intellectuals, and he sits there and fucking he's the more character at the table, and then that's about 40 years old, so I'll tell you what happens. And he pulls a knife on one of them to just show them what life is really like. You know, he's an ex-army guy. He's going, "You never had been threatened in your life." And while he's doing that, one of them stabs him in the back, kills him. So they need to bury him in the garden, and they all have to deal with that through the guilt of what they've done at this table. And some of them can handle it, some of them are really blasé, but fucking deserve to die, fuck them.
Right.
You know, but there's all this other stuff going on in the background. There's a missing kid, there's cops looking for these missing children, and some of them get the idea, let's have another dinner party. And this time we invite the worst person we could find. And
Right.
we decide in the dinner party if we're going to kill them.
Fuck me.
Really.
What a great idea. When was this? Was this in the 80s or?
Late 80s, early 90s.
Right.
Yeah. But it's brilliant. It's been done on stage as well. I always fancied doing it on stage and setting it new and you know, introducing, you know, the political climate now, Brexit and sectarianism, and there's so many other things that you could bring in it, you know.
Yeah.
But I know, brilliant film. You should definitely watch that. That's my recommendation.
I just started watching the movie yesterday.
Steve's suggestion.
Suggestion.
It's called Bloody Hell. Have you seen it? No. It's no longer just out 2020. And the guy, he becomes a bit of a celebrity, goes to jail for 8 years for stopping a bank robbery. But because he stopped a bank robbery and somebody died, even though like he was taking out armed robbers and someone died, the political climate and the media frame it in such a way that makes him look guilty. Goes to jail, comes out, kind of is a bit like John Wick, right? So he's like, screw this, I'm leaving this country because everybody recognises me and some people love me, some people hate me. It's left and right essentially on any matter. He basically is the pillar of that. Decides I'm going to go to Luxembourg, and then in the airport, it's like there's like 2 cannibal kind of people that have just like gas him, take him away to Luxembourg, and then he wakes up with like one leg. He's like, oh, he's all chained up.
Oh, sounds right. Oh, man. Don't tell me anything.
That's all I can really tell you.
Fucking watch it.
Right?
Bloody hell.
Bloody hell.
Is it on a streaming site? Is it on it's on fucking Shudder.
It's on Prime. It's on Prime.
It's on Prime.
Prime,
I'm watching it tonight.
It's actually so far I fell asleep not because of the movie, but because I've just done like 3 12-hour shifts and I was like, I'm done. But I'm returning to it. I've only seen half of it. I'm looking forward to it. I'll actually watch the first half again in case I miss it.
He can't spoil it for you then, he's only seen half of it.
I was just a bit spoiled one for you. When you hear all night spoiler,
It's like a horror version. Even in it, they're like, oh, it's John Wick. So the guy tends to do it, but he's obviously woke up with a handicap. His wife's been taken and fed it to the sun.
Is that right? Is that enough?
Right, watch that.
Cool.
That's got a good one.
Criminals, have you seen that? Criminals is good. Check that out.
Is that a movie? People are at home taking how many?
Take notes.
How many
Take notes,
times have you
everybody.
said? Check this out.
Criminals is really, really good. It's one of those under the radar, kind of low budget, really well written, well thought out kind of wee films. Where one of those twists. One of those kind of what's going on, really what's going on twists. It's really, really good.
Love them.
Just what last film before we talk about something better. The Disappearance of Alice Creed.
No, I haven't seen this, but my brother's. Have I seen it? I'm sure it's one my brother kept sending me to watch.
Aye, Eddie Marston and your fucking what's his name? Sweet 16.
Oh, Martin Compton.
Martin Compton. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Brain flap.
I've seen it. It's okay.
It's aye, something like that, maybe 2010, 11, something like that. And it's just twist after turn, but unexpected. See, I'm one of these bastards that see if somebody tells me there's a twist in a film, I'll sit and try and figure it out for the whole film, and I probably will. And it's annoying. I'd rather folk never told me there's a twist, because I spoil it for myself. I spoil movies for myself like that, because people say, "Oh, watch that, man, it's a great twist," and I'll just sit there ignoring everything and trying to figure out the twist.
Right, best twist in any film you've ever seen.
The others was good. I was quite young.
Others, right, okay.
That was it.
The actual ghost side of the spoilers, but it's about 30-year-old.
Great
For
twist.
me, it's Dusk Till Dawn, because I had no idea what it was. I just thought it was I just thought that was a Tarantino-esque, Desperado type, kind of Rodriguez movie. I hadn't seen any of the blurb about it, and I went to the cinema and watched it. And I was fucking could not fucking blew my mind. Couldn't believe that's what I was watching. I thought I was just watching a Tarantino movie.
Aye.
And then boom, that happened. I was just like,
That from Dusk Till Dawn. I used to watch that multiple times a day when I was young. Brilliant. Yeah.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Predestination. Have you seen that?
I've seen that.
Oh,
straight
yeah,
from
that's
here,
a twisted turn.
I know, I love those films that just mess with your mind.
There's ones where you just got to watch again and then again to see if you can actually figure it out. Predestination was.
I try to think my favourite kind of twist ending. The only one that kind of comes to mind now is just it's cliched, man. It was The Usual Suspects. But it was kind of ruined for me by the parody. Scary movie. Scary movie. Fucking done it. Aye. I was too young for it.
Sixth Sense was a great twist.
Sixth Sense, I did get that one. I knew that. What did you get for you?
My oldest brother, my two older brothers went to see it at the cinema. He came home, my oldest brother came in, he was like, it's a good film, by the way, can I tell you one bit? Guess what fucking bit? So the first time I seen it, I knew right from the beginning, so it just kind of loses its effect, really.
I like an M. Night Shyamalan film.
Unbreakable. Great twist, Unbreakable. Forgot about that.
Have you seen the new one?
I quite like class.
The new one's called Old.
I've not seen Old. No, not yet, but I hear it's good.
They essentially go into a beach that.
No, I know the story. I've seen the trailer.
Good.
No, I'll definitely watch it.
I think Unbreakable.
Even that shite one with Mark Wahlberg.
I enjoyed that. The plants are striking
Loads of
back.
people topping themselves, they're killing each other in gruesome ways. Yes, please, certainly do, no matter what else is happening. If you get that shit in the film, I'm game.
People say, "Oh, that was so stupid." Why? Because the plants could probably do it. Plants evolved to protect themselves, and essentially, really.
It's,
Talking about the plants, the one was called the one that on the Incan kind of pyramid. A horror film, and it's the plant that's growing inside this Incan pyramid, and these travellers go.
Is it the Green Inferno?
No,
That's the cannibal thing.
Oh, it's amazing! It's amazing because the plant can kind of talk and mimic human voices and stuff, and entices people in.
I've seen this one.
Little Shop of Horrors.
It's like Green Inferno crossed with Little Shop of Horrors crossed with the M. Night Shyamalan one.
Kieran Young says Shutter Island.
Shutter Island. I've not seen it. I
Mm,
know.
that's
Yeah,
a good
there's
one.
loads of things I've not seen because one day I'll just sit and I'll watch that today. So what time
It's
is it?
been
What
done
time
the
is
way. Some movies, and I'm fine with that. Some movies are you can watch a movie and go, it's just another version of this, but in its own way.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with that.
I
You can
just
watch it again.
recently watched the Martin Scorsese one, and with the cop criminal. See, it was originally Internal Affairs. It was called
Oh, The Departed.
The Departed.
Oh,
Right,
mate.
so I just saw it recently because I love the original movies.
Aye.
Seen all the original films, and I was like, fucking shot for shot. Piss taking it. Do you know what I mean? So it took me a long time to get round to watching that. What a great film that was.
Aye.
I had to wait until I can hardly remember the original. I can watch that and it's kind of new to me. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know Jack Nicholson ad-libbed see when he shot the woman on the beach? And he ad-libbed that line where he went, "She fell funny." And he just left it. And I love ad-libs, a good ad-lib. Do you ever get the fucking chance to
Yeah.
stick them in? And
I did get the chance to ad-lib.
Aye.
I mean, every now and again, some. It's good when it happens naturally. It's a nightmare when a director will go at you. Yeah, so just when you get to that, but just make something up. You're like, oh, thanks very much.
Right.
But, if it happens, it happens. And it's nice when it happens.
Mhm.
I mean, kind of laugh. There was a lot of improvisation in that, but we knew that going in.
Yep.
A lot of that was going to be made up on the spot and invented, and we were ready for it. You know, we had workshopped the shit out of that. We knew the characters inside and out, so we could embody them. You know, and I kind of changed my life playing that character a wee bit. You know what I mean? Because we spent so long in his skin. You know, over a year and a half.
Yeah.
I get a question for you actually. Like, and I don't even know if it's true. It's just like you hear these things and they're always read on websites and stuff. So Heath Ledger became the Joker. Apparently, he locked himself away and isolated himself to kind of get in the headspace. And they reckon that could have played into his psyche, which could have sent him away. Is that something you can actually see happen? Because I don't know if that's stuff.
Yeah, I know.
You read it.
It's an affectation with a lot of people. Do you know what I mean? But yes, there are a poster. Anything's possible.
Yeah.
So I think for a lot of people that say they method act and do this thing, it's an affectation. It's a way of keeping people at arm's length and you know, making themselves feel more important than they really are. You know what I mean? And they're not the team player that the rest of us want them to be. Maybe they're not brilliant around other people, so they invent the guise of method acting so that they can. You know, some people do it really well. Some people are great method actors and they put themselves right in it. I think. Do you know what I mean? That you know, I don't think I would ever go. I don't think I'd ever deep dive.
Nah.
You know, I think it's too. I think the darker the character, the more close to the surface you should keep yourself. You want to go too deep into what you do. I played a couple of really bad characters, and I was asked, "Do you want to do research?" And I went, "Oh, fuck no." You know, you're on the script. You've written down what you want to do. I'll act evil and do that.
I've got one in mind.
You know what I mean? So, you know, I don't really want to kind of go down any rabbit holes. But it's interesting that people do it, though. You know, reading recently about this, Jeremy Strong from Succession, and the lengths to which he goes, you know, and other actors like Brian Cox are like, "Get a grip." You know, literally tells him, "Get a grip." Do you know what I mean? What you do? This can't be much fun for you.
I love Brian Cox.
I'm on set having a good time, and you're fucking out there not having a good time, just doing it right. You know what I mean? It's what we're doing on screen that different. You know, people looking at it and going, "Oh my god, he's that much better than him." Because if you're putting that much fucking effort in, you know, it's got to be so
spectacular,
fucking amazing.
Aye.
You know what I mean? You've got to be wanting to put your performance on a certain level, or you've trained. Maybe he's trained in that. What is it? The Lee Strasberg in the School of Method Acting, or whatever it is. You know, and then that's how the process works for them. You know what I mean? Some people look at acting as a puzzle to be solved. You get from A to B to C, you know, get yourself into that character. But not everybody can do the characters that these people do. Not everybody can play Rain Man and do it well. Not everybody can play these extreme characters. And maybe there's a reason why it's always those kind of trained actors that do that kind of work.
I mean, something like Rain Man. I mean, Dustin Hoffman, fucking phenomenal in that film. Recently, there's been more of a kind of outcry for these roles to go to people that actually have the disabilities getting kind of displayed on the screen. What's your opinion on that? Is this a big?
I'll just protect myself now by saying I don't have one.
Okay.
If I was a producer or a director, or I was, if I had skin in that game,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have skin in that game. I'm a white heterosexual man, actor, male actor. Do you know what I mean? I really have nothing. I understand why anybody of any walk of life would want representation,
Mm-hmm.
and I think maybe I think I could still play a gay character. Of course I could.
Mm-hmm.
I think human beings are human beings. Love is love.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think that as long as you're no parodying it and camping it up and all of a sudden limp-wristed, and if you see them as different as a different type of human being, then you're on a losing streak and you shouldn't have to play it anyway.
Aye.
I mean,
like the Ricky Gervais is the genie in Extras.
So there's I understand it. But the logistics of getting somebody with that type of disability to play that character in that film would be nigh on impossible.
Yeah.
To do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a scripted piece of work. So it's going to create. I'm not saying it's impossible.
Aye.
But it's going to create a much looser shooting schedule.
Aye.
You would be able to do. But yeah, absolutely. If anybody wants represented, especially those that are underrepresented, they should be able to fight for that and make that kind of noise.
That question was way more fucking loaded than I meant it to be.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. It was such a casual. I asked it so casually as well.
Somebody's going to come down. I don't mean you said that. I don't know what I'm saying.
Blame me. I asked the fucking question.
These are less loaded questions. So I've watched a lot of different interviews with people talking about actors or actresses that sometimes they'll get a script and they're like, no, interested, but I don't want to say no, so I'll just make ridiculous demands because then they'll back off.
Way above my pay grade or that shit.
Have you been on set or have you made any kind of what kind of demands would you make? And have you
Never made a demand in my life. No, never. I want everybody to be safe and happy.
No,
that's if you need to demand that. You know what I mean? You're in trouble. You need to be safe and happy. Don't want anybody to be bullied. I've never had to make that clear that a demand on anything. Generally, it's an incredibly professional place. And then, listen, I've seen actors demand things, certain things that they need.
Doing what?
At
least tell us what they demanded or what they asked for.
It's silly things, you know what I mean? Like a specific kind of food, which isn't special dietary requirements or, But yeah, I mean, we've been on jobs where the catering's been horrendous, so when we're not eating that, get us a McDonald's.
Right. Aye.
That's really bad catering. It doesn't happen very often. Generally, the caterers are amazing. All the jokes are on. But and then for years, like 20 years ago, it was so bad that nobody wanted to eat it. But it wasn't just me going, I want a burger. Somebody went, you don't get McDonald's. Mum went, yes, I do.
Do you know the one job I was on that I told you about earlier, that Tenants advert? We had stovies, and it was fucking amazing. Stovies. Stovies ever. See stovies at 3 a.m. when it's fucking freezing. Perfect.
I've done jury duty, right? And they apparently give you catering there as well because you're there all day. He's a vegan, so he was like, "Hi, none of this is vegan. Is there any option that I have that's vegan?" And they handed him a bowl of lettuce, and he goes. And the worst part was, it's not even like they prepared it for me. It was just the lettuce from that table.
Surely they get signed up, right? You would tell them that you're vegan and they would have stuff.
No. I think he would like to not tick the box and then just make them deal with it at the time. I think he's that type of guy.
No, that's Hal Connor.
Oh, was it Connor? I thought it was the other one.
Jury duty.
That's a good point.
Those are the nicest.
You get the bolts in
Probably.
No. It'd be outside where a spirit level trying to prove the earth was flat.
Let's talk
Right.
about that. It's been a while, they've been at the news now since a bunch of COVID deniers came in. The flat earthers were like, what about us? We need to be careful with you. We're not killing anybody. These assholes to deal with you.
Right. It's Christmas time. Christmas is coming up. Favourite Christmas film?
The Grinch.
I should have sang it Christmas time. This is from mine.
That's one of my favourite Christmas songs.
Don't have a wee karaoke Christmas songs on Christmas Day. Everybody's going to sing with the neighbours. But interestingly enough, I don't generally like Christmas or Christmas films or anything kind of jolly and tinsely, and But I did. My stepdaughter's been watching a lot of Christmas films, and my wife's right into Christmas as well. So you get swept along with it. As a bit of an affectation, so I'm going to be going to say I don't like it, but I really fucking love it. Watched the first Home Alone again recently, and it's a fucking stone cold classic.
It's so good, man.
Christmas Chicken here. It's still one of the funniest films ever made. Joe Pesci, and I can't remember his name, the other
Daniel Stern.
Right? Oh man, the two of them, everything they do, every single scene that they're in, they're chewing that scenery up, and it is a beautiful thing to watch.
That's the thing.
I think that's now became my absolute favourite Christmas film.
That's the thing about that film, is it doesn't have to be as well acted as it is. And it's just
Catherine Keener. Not Catherine Keener.
Catherine O'Hara. Yep.
Just watched Schitt's Creek.
Aye.
Devoured all of Schitt's Creek, one of the best TV shows ever made.
I've not seen it yet.
It's a slow burner.
Right.
Past the first 2 or 3 episodes.
Like most things, really.
Once you're in it with those characters and you start to develop and grow, it's just a thing of beauty. It's one of the most good-natured and lovely TV programs ever. Manages to be funny without any real drama, and there's none of this. It's just people trying to survive and get through and accepting each other, and it's just so well written and so well done. It's fucking beautiful.
Right.
It's
Okay.
like that and Ted Lasso were for me, but like a couple of new
I've heard of this.
programs that are just brimming with positivity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, feel good aspects coming out of them, and I have to say I'm here for that. I love all that kind of television.
Right.
I highly recommend you need to go. She is amazing, and
Right.
she is. That's one of the best performances I've ever seen anybody do in anything. She is amazing.
So when I watched Home Alone recently, I had feelings about her in that film that I've never heard before. You look at her differently when you get a bit older. She's a fucking good-looking woman.
She's an actress in Schitt's Creek. So once you watch Schitt's Creek, everything you watch or do, because it's like 5 seasons or something, everything you watch or do in old films like that, it's that character playing that character.
Right, okay.
Do you know what I mean? I keep thinking it's that character who's actually a brilliant actor, nailing all these characters. It's brilliant. So good.
I literally, a couple of days ago, watched the first 2 with my kids, the Home Alone movies. And for the first time, I watched it through the eyes of Catherine O'Hara's character, Kevin's mum. And I watched her performance, and she's probably like, first time she says it, I'm a terrible mother. Like, just, she spends her whole time in those movies just like beside us.
Cheers.
And we
Twice a year. She's not even taking hundreds of things, loads of money, cracking big pussies. They're all flying first class. What does the dad do for a living?
We all wonder that.
And he can't even keep a hood in a plane.
Do you know why? Do you know why they were never done for it? Money. That's why. Even at the airport where they're trying to get the flight. Aye. See, even a bit of at the airport where they're like, oh, sorry, there's no flights, and she's like, what about a private plane? They've got fucking money, those people.
Yeah, you want it.
I'm going to copyright this idea of the new, right? So if anybody makes this film, you have to hear the first things I came up with this. We watched Home Alone the other day, and I just came up with a perfect new Home Alone but in the trilogy. So this is Home Alone 3, and he's older now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's older, and and he's now a security specialist
Mhm.
because he's brilliant at making shit out. He's became MacGyver, right? And he's got a security company, he's brilliant, and it's set in Edinburgh, right? And he come because he's Kevin McAllister, right? In Ireland, wherever his family and lineage comes from,
Aye.
he's visiting, right? On a Christmas Edinburgh tattoo. That's a fucking terrorist attack.
It's
right?
Die Hard with Kevin McAllister.
Die Hard with Kevin McAllister is going to make shit to
Oh,
get
mate.
in a Home Alone style. So still comedy, still hey, Japes and all that, but he's older now. And there's other like kids in it that he's going to teach how to make all this shit become really dangerous with lots of pain.
That's class. What's funny though is I was unfortunate enough to watch the most recent Home Alone, Home Sweet Home Alone. Is what it is, right? Kevin McAllister's character is mentioned in it because he's Buzz is in it. Obviously, his older brother. He shows up as a cop.
That's class.
Kevin McAllister runs a security company.
No way, I've not seen
I
that.
swear to
I've not
God.
seen that ever.
He does. He's not in it. He's not in it. But the shop, the house that they're trying to break into has a McAllister security system, and it's his.
I think he's like properly like MacGyver-y, like, unusual solution to your trap doors in your house and shit like that.
Aye, fuck your ring alarm bell.
Wasn't it ancestral? Something like that.
I'll come back to you in a week. You text me.
And I make it. Amazing.
I don't know
But
why.
how good would it be for him to such a fantastic character? I absolutely love Macaulay Culkin.
Mhm.
I loved loads of other things that he's done.
Uncle
Not
Buck.
just that. Saved. He's brilliant and Saved.
Have you seen The Good Son?
No,
My girl.
The Good Son is it's him and Elijah Wood, and they're both like 12, 13 in it maybe, and I think Elijah Wood's parents have died. His mum's died, and his dad sent him to live with his auntie and uncle for a while he's away in business. But it turns out that his cousin, who is Macaulay Culkin, is an evil wee fucker. And then it turns into a psychological horror about kids, and he's good at it, really is.
This is going to blow my mind here. So Kieran Young says, "What do you think about the theory about Kevin growing up to become Jigsaw?" Now, I've never heard it. Please, in a detailed comment, tell us what this is.
I've heard this before.
Oh, you heard it. Give us.
No, that's quite interesting. I quite like that. I don't think that's shite, but most theories, somebody just came up with an idea, and went, "Wow, that would be good." But that is good. I like that because he's been fucking abandoned.
Aye, he's got some serious psychological issues.
He's older. He's probably no. I mean, he's went on to drugs and crime. You know, I could see him becoming Jigsaw.
Did you see that
The
thing?
family of the first people people. I know. I think doing that.
There was he's done a few. Macaulay Culkin has done a few of his own stuff. Just filmed it like privately.
On the thing that he was the Uber driver.
Yes.
And he's Kevin McAllister.
Yes.
Brilliant.
He's still his long hair and fag.
I get stuck in tons of time from that. You know, I wish he was doing more, but he's doing
He can be-
different stuff.
Aye. He's
got a bad rap for a bit,
time.
but he has kind of.
He's pulled himself back. His brothers
are brilliant. His brothers are
Kieran.
brilliant in Succession. He's
Oh.
absolutely
Aye.
amazing.
He was in that movie. Was it called Bully or Mean Creek? Mean Creek. Bully and Mean Creek are to me kind of similar kind of movies. Yeah, he's in Mean Creek. Have you seen Mean Creek? No. Oh, mate, watch Mean Creek. That's got Kieran Culkin in it. A young Kieran Culkin. Not long after Home Alone and Home Alone 2. It's basically about that kid. Was it Drake and Josh? Isn't it? You've never seen it.
I've never seen Mean
You
Creek.
know the
I
one
know of
that
it.
used to be obviously puppy fat when he was
Yes, I
younger.
know exactly what you're
Right,
talking about.
plays a right wee guy that you'd want to punch, and essentially he bullies Kieran Culkin. So Kieran Culkin's big brother's like, "Is that wee shit going to be like that?" They go out on a boat, and then they're like, "What we're going to do is we're going to embarrass him." They take it a step too far, and then they're like, "Oh fuck!" Then it's what happens next. Watch Mean Creek.
Oh, well,
So good.
excellent. Oh, God, I've not got enough time in the
I know.
But that came out quite some time ago. They're obviously still young in it. And that's the first time I really saw Kieran Culkin and was like, he's actually class, eh? Do you know? I think Macaulay Culkin actually emancipated his parents?
th-
He spent all his money.
I think so.
I think there's more Culkins than Waynes now. I think. Like you'll see a new young Culkin pop up. Well, I say new, actually Rory. Remember Rory Culkin
What was
as
it?
well? Signs.
That's it. Signs.
Is- As soon as you look at the face, you go, "Ah, yeah, there's a Culkin." Fucking Culkin.
It's insane how quickly you watch a movie and it stays that's how you see that person. And how many years later you're like, wow, that's usually they grow up, but you immortalize them in that sense where they're that character. And for you, what role of yours would you like to say that's how I'd like to be immortalized?
Well,
Fuck, I thought my question was loaded.
It's a tough one because there's like stuff that's really, really good that you're really lucky just to be in and be a part of. And you're like, oh, what's that? There's other famous people in it.
Last orders.
So, I think Last Orders, you know, I mean, look at like scenes with Bob Hoskins and all that, God bless him, he's not here anymore, and it was just such an amazing thing to land that role and be in that film and Helen Mirren's your mom and you change your dad and you know, Bob Hoskins and you're like, so I mean, there's a time in my life and I did that right after Band of Brothers.
Right.
I think, and I might have went back onto Band of Brothers after doing that, so there was a bit, so that was a real time in my life where it was like, yeah, this is what it's going to be like, but you learn your lesson. London, but that time was a really good time, and as I say, I'll be putting together a new showreel, so I had to watch my old showreels and think I need any of that still in the new one, and it's all so old, all that stuff. I wouldn't really put any of it on the new showreel, but it was interesting watching it because I've not watched any of that stuff. The Last Orders I've seen once, I've never seen it more than once. And that scene with Bob Hoskins in the car, is in it. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. That's amazing to watch it and see how thin I was. and just be transported. I was instantly transported back to the time of making that.
Having them memories must be fucking amazing.
It is. I think at some point I'm going to lose them all, and that terrifies me.
Write it down.
I know that's my wife keeps saying that to me now because the wee guy growing up in Castlemilk in Glasgow to doing all the things that I've done, and it's like you forget because life is life, and you just go back to living your life, and sometimes it's hard, and sometimes it's not, and you can't eat or pay the bills from your memories and the good shit that you've done in the past unless you write a good book about it. You know, you could probably should write them down. But I need to wait until quite a few people die before I'm honest enough to release anything. Do you know what I mean? Because the stuff I've done is mad. Do you know what I mean? The places I've been and the people have hung about me. But they are. It's amazing to look back on them and say, but at that point in my life, you know, I think Rushmore was a massive highlight. You know, that's a great character in a classic film, and you know, you don't get many of them enough. I think I've had a few, but I think that one will live forever. You know, it won't really age. It won't really, you know, I don't think it'll ever really show its age. I think we could use some music in it and stuff. You know what I mean? The way that he's done the soundtrack and the writing and the pacing of it and stuff. Do you know what I mean? I think it's perfect.
I can't really.
So it's amazing to be in that. That's probably what I've done.
I can't get over High Times, mate. I'm stuck there. For me,
That's amazing.
Yeah, I know. Well, I appreciate that's how you feel. You know what I mean? Again, that was a wild ride doing those 2 seasons. Doing that with my brother as well was like one of the highlights of my career so far. I mean, sitting here talking as if I'm doing any other good shit, you know what I mean? But look, I mean, I consider myself very lucky that I still get to do stuff like Vigil and Shetland and Save Me 2 and Brassic over the last couple of years, do you know what I mean? And I'm still involved with really talented people and getting to play with these people is an amazing thing, you know.
I think.
Brilliant. I'm still with me, guy Picasso. I can't believe it. Yes, maybe's caught me in yet.
I truly think there will come a point where
lovely Crime Watch.
Is that still on?
Yeah, well, don't maybe bring it back for me.
Just for that.
I genuinely do. I've never seen anything where you're shite.
I could point you towards a couple of things. Maybe you've not seen everything.
Oh,
Especially being shite a few things.
I watched Band of Brothers just because I knew you were in it and I knew it was good. It's something that I'm not big on war movies, but then I watched that thing with Andrew Garfield, which changed my opinion on Andrew Garfield.
Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge. I saw
It's
that.
very good, isn't it? I watched it just recently
Mate,
as well.
I never saw him in Spider-Man, and you know, you get that way where for me, there's some actors where I'm like Hugh Grant. Fair enough, it works to be Hugh Grant in the movies that Hugh Grant's in, but I'll always just see him as that. I like to see actors do stuff that take you out of what you see them. For example, Robert Pattinson in that, was it The King he was in,
Mhm.
where he acts French. I've never seen Robert Pattinson as anything other than what he was in Twilight. Alright, it's Robert Pattinson. To get that, to alter that, to me, impresses me. Oh yeah, I'm finally seeing him. And Andrew Garfield done that in Hacksaw Ridge. He became like Tom Hanks was in Forrest Gump.
Alright.
And he made me care about his character. He kept me attached to his
He's a very good actor. Have you seen the new thing on Netflix, the musical?
No.
Tick Tick Boom.
I haven't seen it.
He is fucking brilliant.
Uh,
And the guy that did Hamilton that directs it, and it's like, can you sing? And he's like, oh, how long have I got when we shooting it? Like, you've got a year and then I can sing. And you watch him on that, you think he was a musical star his whole life, and you're like, this dude learned to sing like that just for this film. It is incredible what he's done.
I mean, when he's probably getting money thrown at him, though. Like,
It doesn't matter, money doesn't equate
well,
to talent or
no,
or
but-
ability or time or, you know, dedication.
aye.
No, you should get paid an absolute fortune.
Aye.
I mean, you watch it, and I wish I knew before watching it that he had never sang really
Right.
before watching it, because once I heard, I was so impressed, because I was impressed watching it.
Mhm.
I mean, he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. I thought, God, he must have been doing musicals his whole life, but no, he did it just for that film.
Initially as Spider-Man, and he was in that Social Network movie as well.
Mhm.
And I thought, because Tobey Maguire is my Spider-Man, I went into watching Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man, and I watched that no wanting to like Andrew Garfield because of that, right? So then I revisited that a couple of years later and thought, do you know what? It wasn't terrible, but I just was not ready to give up Tobey Maguire. So I appreciated his work in Spider-Man, but for me, it still is Tobey Maguire, just for the sake of when I watched it and what it resonated to me when I watched it. Tobey Maguire for me, Spider-Man. But I totally appreciate it, and I love movies that show actors doing something different from what they're known, and it gives me a whole new lease for them.
Yeah.
Question here.
No,
you go.
Andrew Garfield did a thing called, I think, Boy A, which was, I think, a Channel 4 drama serial with Peter Mullen. It's before Spider-Man and stuff. My mate's in it as well, and James Young. And I always remember watching it and seeing Andrew Garfield in it, and it's kind of like a drama about kids that kill a kid and years later they get out. It's like the kind of Bulger case.
Okay.
Similarities to that, and you follow the kid, you know, constantly saying he's not done it, and how the world won't kind of forgive him, and how he moves on as a young adult to that, you know, and it's a spectacular performance in that. You know, sometimes you just watch people and they're doing stuff when they're young, and you're going, yeah, what a career they've got in the head. You know, they're just, you know, you're that good in your first few outings.
Cake.
Your question here: how do you meet a guy like Bob Hoskins and without being yourself?
This is a bit.
No, I remember you told us the last time that when you went in to do the scene.
There's a scene where me and Bob Hoskins I'm fixing a car,
Yeah.
and it's the first time I'd really met him. I'd been in scenes, but it was all the old guard. So it was like amazing, like Michael Caine and Bob Hoskins and just all these amazing Tom Courtney, and they're all sitting about the table in the pub, and you get things like fucking, oh, you son, And you go, yeah, he's a fucking jock now, isn't he? And he'd be like, oh, I'm sitting there going, I want this to be a really special thing. You know? I just like to take the piss because I'm Scottish. Accent.
Your accent was spot on, by the way. Aye.
And that's acting, mate. Representation, there's enough copies in this. You know? But then the first time I had to do that scene with Bob Hoskins, I was so fucking nervous that my lines came out so fast I was tripping over my tongue. I was just turned out to caught my mouth and stuff. I mean, come on, son. Just take a breath. Take a breath. Relax. You're alright. You're alright. I'm like, alright. And then the next one, that was like one take. But it was lovely, man. He was lovely. It was lovely. Very generous.
It was a
young actor in an accent and all that. It could have been fucking so bad.
it was a really sweet wee film. It went quite melancholic as well, like, but
the book's great.
the bit that got me was Helen Mirren saying goodbye to her daughter. Fucking hell, man! It's the first time I've really properly welled up in a film. Aye. See?
As a veteran actor,
Veteran.
No, someone that's been through it. Do you feel a responsibility when you're working with younger talent to do what Bob Hoskins did for you and make them feel comfortable and try and big brother them?
Sure, of course, if they need it, and if they don't, fucking leave them to it. You know what I mean? It's like the only thing you should be is absolutely open and encouraging. Do you know what I mean? There are for young people and they beat themselves up as soon as they fuck a line up or they get something behind them or away. You know, this is just playing at shows. This is just kind of we're just carrying on. There's no anything to get upset about. Unless somebody is upsetting you, you certainly shouldn't be upsetting yourself. You shouldn't be sitting there going, oh my God, I'm shite. It's easy done, though. Do you know what I mean? So just to let them know it's not that important. There are much bigger, more important things in the world than fucking a lineup, unless you're on stage. And then it's the worst thing in the world.
If I was on the set, I'd definitely be. For me, it would be like, other than getting paid from doing this project, I'd want to take more away. So I would probably approach you and be like, Stephen, based on working with me, is there any advice you would give me? Do you?
Well, I did that the very first job I ever did. Dead Eye Dick. That's why I'm here. Yeah. Dead Eye Dick up on that roof, and there was a really great actor, and I can't remember his name now, but he was brilliant, and he'd been on loads of stuff. And he was being really good at that, and I was really kind of cool and playing a call. And I remember asking him some advice, you know what I mean? And he'd give me some, and you know, it's really brilliant advice. Not that I'm told about that's kind of shit advice. But you really have made very an effort, you know what I mean? Yeah. When the camera's here, give less. When it's here, give more. That's shite. terrible acting 101 advice, you know what I mean? So that he said he gave it to me. You know what I mean? Sorry, carry on with my stupid wee story.
Imagine you, the guest, telling a story, fuck's sake.
That was I think in a business, like I was like a kind of the wrestler. Because you're all working in the same environment to kind of, if someone ever came to me and was like, podcast, you've done it for 3 years, and I'm trying to get in it, what can you learn? I always think, you know, if I can
get Stephen McCole on.
If I can enter if I can enter something and leave it better, then I feel that no matter what I gained or what I didn't gain from it would be for me self-fulfilling.
But that's because you're a good guy, right? So there's plenty of every walk of life, your business, this podcast, the film business, the theatre game, everything is just another version of humans together trying to coexist and make things work. So you put an absolute arsehole into the middle of that, it's going to cause waves, you know, and my business is no different to your business, is no different to your business, or anything at all. that once a bad apple gets in there, it's a nightmare.
Mm.
And it happens. It does happen. Some people, some people are just totally selfish and that don't really understand the team aspect of working together.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And they get too carried away. And a lot of it's a defence mechanism. A lot of people deal with their own insecurities by lashing out at other people. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And anybody that brings somebody else down and tries to put them down to make themselves feel better, they're the one with the issue. You know what I mean? Every single time, bar none, they've got an underlying issue.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So you feel sorry for these people, you know what I mean? They've got to get in. Well, look how good the world is. Well, you need to stop being a cunt and enjoy it. And then, you'll have a much better time.
Aye.
You know?
Yeah, that's true. You get them in all walks.
Yeah, all walks of life.
All
So
walks
it happens everywhere. But you just try not to be one. I mean, that was the best advice I ever gave my children, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Was, so that was probably the only advice I ever gave them, not Father of the Year. So I mean, help me with my homework. No, I just don't be an arsehole.
It's very, like, being kind and nice is easy. I think it's so easy to do it. And a lot of the time I'll do stuff for people and I'll go above and beyond. And they'll say, right, cool, what can I do for you? And I'm like, I think it's its own merit. I will happily do something if it's within what I can do. If I can offer something to someone that I can do that isn't like miles away from what I'm able to provide, I would happily do it just for the sake of bettering that person's journey to where they want to go. That makes me feel good, and it's good to see. I actually enjoy seeing people succeed. There's something I'll tell you after this podcast, which is
Is that the other side of you?
No,
Evil bad side of you?
no, it's in relation to that. It's in relation to, like, all the time I'm forever putting people together. I can't tell you that on podcast.
See if you're gonna do something nice for somebody, just don't film yourself doing it, because then you're a cunt.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, there is no such thing as a selfless act, is there? I mean, if you will get something.
Yeah, true.
So there's no such thing as a selfless act. You could do something good for somebody and you're ambivalent about it. But you're either going to, regret doing it or feel really good for doing it. So there's always going to be a payoff for it, one way or the other.
It's good though that you can value that feeling of feeling good about it. That to me should always be the thing. Pay it forward essentially. If I do, that guy done it for me, so I'll do it for this guy.
I remember one time I was on a night out in Glasgow and I was steaming, and what I would do at the end of the night out, I would always buy an extra bag of chips and give it to somebody that was a bit less fortunate. And I was so pissed that it took me about 20 minutes to find a homeless person in Glasgow. Right?
I don't think you were in Glasgow.
I was pretty stupid. Anyway, I found this. She looked like the mum for the Goonies, the Fratelli's mum, and she was sitting down. I went up. I was like, "Ryan, you want a bag of chips?" And she put her hand out and then took her hand away and went, "Is that salt and sauce on it?" I was like, salt vinegar. Sorry, that's where I was brought up. There's a salt and vinegar on it, and I just said no, and then ate them. It's like, apparently beggars can be choosers.
Of course they can.
Aye.
Of course they can. I mean, it's somebody that doesn't like mayonnaise. You say, "Do you want a sandwich with a mayonnaise on it?" And you go, "No, I don't like mayonnaise." And you go, "I guess you're ungrateful bastard. I don't like mayonnaise. Just because I don't have a house doesn't mean that you put it."
That's me being an arsehole.
What's that? She went back, got a bag of chips, and that's for me.
That was 20 minutes ago, the chippy.
I would have proven you were a really good person like your buddy here, but no.
Aye.
He would have went back.
I'm sure it would.
we all have our moments. It's one of the things I always try to do as well is reflect on times where, because I'll sometimes have altercations with people where they'll blow up, and I'm like, if you didn't like that, you could have spoken to me, and we could have worked that out without you now being an arse. You think you're a fucking dick, I'm going to put you in the States.
It goes from nice guy to violent pretty quickly.
No, it's massive. You didn't see the other part.
So now I'm going to put you in the States.
Nah, you didn't see the other part.
Not heard that for a while. So it's been another lovely wee journey with you, Stephen.
I
Um,
enjoyed it. I can't remember a thing that I've said, and that's usually what happens when I talk to you two. There's so many tangents. I need to watch it back to see if I made a total tit of myself. But I do enjoy it. I enjoy these chats. They're good fun. There's lots of recommendations. I know what I'm watching tonight.
Yes.
Bloody hell. Bloody hell.
and then you try and get The Last Supper. The Last Supper will look for.
It's amazing. You will not be disappointed. It's very 90s, early 90s. It's amazing.
That's good. They don't make films like that anymore.
It's brilliant in it as well.
Thank you.
What did you think of the coffee?
Was that the really strong stuff?
Aye.
Oh, that's fucking excellent.
Did you like that? I'll make sure to get a wee bag and
Very
give you some
tasty.
for the.
Get it in a cafetiere in the morning and set me up for the day.
Joe Rogan has a cafe there, so
It's aye, that's where we are now.
Joe Rogan is a cafetiere. I was just thinking, it's almost like a own Joe Rogan show. Although I don't have enough kind of mental opinions about shit.
Have you ever tried DMT?
No, I don't think there are people that have
I don't even know what it is.
it's touching. It's God's anus. I think that's what it is. DNT, take a wee trip to God's anus, and he's.
It will change your life.
Change your life.
Apparently.
Don't do drugs, kids. But I've never done it. That scares the shit out of me. I don't know if God's anus is something you'd like to try, but not for me.
Up the holy sphincter.
Says, thank you so much for taking the time to answer the question.
Oh, no worries.
So before we wrap up, so you are going to be opening your own workshops.
I'm going to be doing them in 2022. Hopefully, kind of early on, probably start them about February or something once I've kind of put the material together.
Right.
But yeah, like an improvisation class, and then maybe other workshops where we'll work on scene work and maybe acting for camera and that kind of crap. Like when the camera's here, be really small, and when the camera we won't cover that. I saw a cracking thing years ago, and it was Michael Caine doing an actor's workshop, an actor's studio workshop on telly, right? It was brilliant. And at the time I thought, wow, that's a fucking ridiculous thing. And he said, here's something you should learn. Really important. You got your cameraman over here, and he's on a thing going like this. So when you stand up out in the scene, don't stand up like that. Because he's going, oh, I'm following you. So whenever you get up out in the scene, do it slowly. And I thought, at the time I thought, what's that? And then when you walk down film, you're like, fucking brilliant. So
I'm going.
such a tiny thing, but it's about. It speaks to awareness of everything that's going on about you. Do you know what I mean? All those little things that you can do to make everybody else's life easier.
I'll look at your entire back catalogue now and go, look, he's standing up slowly again.
It's a bit too slow in some things. That's all I would say. Taking it really in part. Sometimes I don't get up at all. The director goes, do you think you stand up? And I go, the camera and go, calls. Just don't get up to see the camera.
Even the Kieran's got a lot of wisdom here. And Kieran says, bitch and chat, guys. Cheers, Stephen. Bitch and chat.
Bitchin' chat.
Bitchin'.
Like a surfer for the
Aye.
90s. I love it.
Chat, dude.
I think you've got a lot to offer as well, the up and coming actors, especially in Scotland. I mean, how could they not turn to you and be like, right, this guy knows what he's talking about with the work you've done?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just setting it up in a way that doesn't feel like
you're meant to
listen people.
Aye.
You know what I mean? It's very important to me that I don't feel that I still want to make money. These workshops will not be free, Michaela. I won't be taking the absolute course out of people either. And it's more of an exploratory, a laboratory thing where we're going to try shit. You know what I mean? And see what works for you. Every actor's got a different way of prepping and a different way of thinking their way through things. You know what I mean? I like to, if the way that I do it or the way I've seen other people do it works,
There are various ways for you to monetize that.
No wonder we'll get the plan together.
I'll tell you that. But I think that'd be brilliant. It'd be brilliant. James McAvoy in an interview said he became an actor after he had no desire to be an actor, didn't know what it would be. Gerard Kelly came to his school and taught him one wee thing about acting, and from that moment, pursued acting.
Brilliant.
You could be that Gerard Kelly.
I think it was, for me, it was Burt Reynolds and his ability to make my dollar.
I remember you.
Little tiny things. When I'm watching that guy doing that to that guy, I'd like to do it.
It was the Cannonball Run outtakes, wasn't it?
Right?
Yep.
I never forget it.
Yeah.
And you know, Peter Mullen was always kind of about our school. And David Mackay went to our school, and you know, Peter knew our drama teacher. And I remember us going to see a show, the same show that I bribed it years later. The same character that Peter Mullen played in it, called Losing Alec. That was the name of the play.
Right.
And then, God knows how many years, 15 years later, I'm playing that part on stage in a dry, and I think that the realisation that it was the same part probably looked at. But I remember Peter coming back in the drama class when maybe 7 or 8 years. We're taken backstage at the Tron, and Peter came in and went, "Fuck's sake, Dan, how you doing? Nice to see you." And I went, "Whoa, just one of the teachers must have been in first year or something." And I just brought the drama class to come and see you. "Oh, brilliant, how's all doing? She's out of fucking This guy's amazing."
I'd love to speak to him, man. Aye, love a chance to speak to Peter Mullen. He seems like a right interesting cat.
You also need to write a book.
I will.
When? Okay.
When I've done their stuff.
I think it'd be interesting. It'd be really cool to see, because not only are you an actor, but you're an actor that came from Scotland.
Still come to Scotland. Still
Right, exactly.
never went anywhere.
Well, we went to America.
Just for a visual.
But
I try and get one.
I think
Never been paid enough to go anywhere else. You know.
You like it here?
I do like
So-
it here. I do.
I
I like it here. I think anybody's going to bring on a podcast in America. Using my Joe Rogan's. Joe and Rogan.
Right, I'm going to adopt that nickname. Rogan. It's better than fucking Fat Man or whatever.
Let's have the NT next time when we pass it. Take it. Podcast. Everyone.
Or sitting here licking frogs.
I don't know, I can tell you. But like I said, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yes.
And I believe truly, unless you become the next Heisenberg, this won't be the last. Even when you become the next Heisenberg, this won't be the last thing we see.
No, listen, I would love to get too famous to come on your podcast. Let's all hope that happens one day. But until then, you can have me back on any time you like.
Let's really get a watch along. We do this thing with our audience. And
I'd love a watch along.
mate, they do it.
Excellent.
When we decided let's do a watch along, right? Because people were asking us to do it, I was like, who's going to tune in to watch us watching the same movie as them? Hold on, it's not going to happen. Mate, when we don't do a watch along, I get texts. When's the next watch along? We choose specifically rotten movies.
Oh, brilliant.
Right, so Beaster Bunny, The Killer Sofa. What else did we do?
Killer Pinata. That was something.
Fire.
Mate,
Rubber.
I've seen that.
Rubber.
We will do that with you when you're up for it.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh, I've seen it.
I've not seen it yet.
It's like spies on the ground in the shower.
It's the fourth war, and it's the people watching what's going on, and it's just like,
Does it for you?
I
what the fuck is going
I remember.
It's amazing.
I remember my mate told me that it's the worst film he's ever seen, but I don't think he got that it was supposed to be bad.
No, that's the thing with these films. You've either made a bad film or you've made the decision to make a bad. You either make a film badly,
Yep.
or you make a bad film. That's two different things.
Lamageddon.
Very different things.
Lamageddon.
Black Sheep, I love
Black Sheep was good. That's I was New Zealand, that one. Aye.
We've not done that.
The thing is, Black Sheep's actually it's bigger budget than we would normally go.
I heard back to things that one of the first kind of movies like that I saw, Peter Jackson's Bad Taste. And you go, now there's a movie that was made for a specific crowd to watch it.
Aye.
It's brilliant. It is absolute genius.
See, I saw Bad Taste. I saw Bad Taste after I'd seen Brain Dead. So Brain Dead was actually pretty fucking good. But Bad Taste I didn't enjoy.
You watched them in the wrong order.
I know.
And I think
Meet the Feebles. Remember Meet the
I
Feebles?
got that when it came out. Bad Taste was
right.
in the video shoot, a new release when we got it.
Still remember that alien on the cover, like, getting the Vickies?
Exactly when we got to watch this. What's this all about? Right? And then at the very beginning, on the phone, the boys, you got that tickles me. For a very immature brain, you watch that film.
It was funny. I remember my brother texted me a few weeks ago, and he was like, "Jordan, try and get somebody for Brain Dead on the podcast." And you look at the cast and crew, and they've all gone on to fucking huge careers. I was like, I'll not get any of these people, man. Like, I think the actors that were in it, so a lot of them kind of fell off the face of the earth. Like, you can't get a contact number for them. But the crew, all the crew went on to work on Lord of the Rings and all that stuff with Peter. So yeah, I was like, nah, it's not going to happen, bro.
You should get a request out to speak to Peter Jackson, and they'd be like, I don't want to talk about Lord of the Rings. drugs anymore? You go, no, mate, the director with bad taste and brain dead.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Or Dead Alive, as it's called in America for some fucking reason. I've never understood that.
Time ago since I saw it, but I remember the lawnmower things. You know,
The lawnmower scene's insane. The priest. Oh, I kick ass for the Lord.
I love an Australian and a New Zealand film or TV show. I love it. I love the laconic delivery, the accents, just brilliant. Chopper's amazing.
Fucking fantastic.
Very good performance by
Eric Bana.
Who was a stand-up comedian.
Aye, he was amazing in that. I mean, even if like you just compare his performance to footage of the real Chopper, and you're like, it's fucking bang on. Have you ever seen Chopper?
No.
Put it on your list.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Put it on your list.
Have you seen the Magician, Australian thing about the Hitman?
No.
Don't watch the film.
Hang on, there's a TV show, Mr. Just watched it. I just watched the whole thing. Again, my brother told me to watch it.
Mr. Unforgettable or something like that. Mr. Unforgettable. Anyway, can't remember the name. It's terrible, but it's amazing.
It's his face in it.
The series is amazing. It's one of the best kind of crime things that's ever been done. The guy's brilliant. Only did 3 seasons yet. It's amazing.
What the fuck is that called? I'll Google it after the show anyway.
I'm going to Google it anyway.
It's a great show. The Mr. In Between, aye. And this guy, he's only really done that film. Aye, it's. Aye, and he's fucking amazing. It's his voice is like, his voice sounds like somebody who's not Australian doing an Australian accent. He's a little bit high. He's a little bit high.
That's why it's so authentic. It doesn't sound polished.
Aye.
You know what I mean? He sounds very real, urban, kind of Australian, and he's so good at all the gun stuff and the violence. He's excellent in the violence. I love a good bit of violence when it's done well. And it's really violent. It's good. It's really good.
He's just got an expression on his face where you know he's turning. Like, he gives people a chance to be. But then if they'll call him a name and he'll just go, he's got a smile and he's like, right, I'm going to be back tomorrow. I'm going to fucking tell you about. He's amazing. Amazing. I shouldn't remember the guy's name. Anyway, we'll wrap it up and then we'll talk about other stuff we can't talk about on the podcast.
Well, guys, it's been it's been class having you back.
Yes.
And we'll expect you back soon for the war.
Are we actually ending it this time? So this is like the 4th time.
We'll actually end it.
I'm not saying anything else until we're finished.
Thanks everybody that's tuned in and stayed with us.
Yes.
Whopping nearly 3 hours, which, by the way, if you're going to have Stephen McCole on the podcast, you're not just going to do it for an hour anyway, right?
Only if he enjoys himself. So that we'll take that as testament.
For a piss for the last hour, so I'll tell you how much I've been enjoying it. I'll go for a piss.
Again, thanks everybody for tuning in. As always, you guys' support keeps us going, which is class that people still support us after we talk so much.
After all these years of talking shite, it's nice to talk shite with people we like to talk shite with. So.
Huge thanks to Stephen. So if everybody can follow you, all your social media has been up the whole time.
Our socials.
Let's try to get following.
I rarely tweet or Instagram or whatever it is. I don't do Facebook anymore. I'm not Facebook.
If anyone has the number for EastEnders, just up at Jibber Jabber Scott.
Could you imagine people?
Phone calls.
Imagine people did that, and then your agent got a phone call asking you to stop it.
I would die of embarrassment.
Fucking run.
Sometimes my phone
I'd rather be in Stranger Things. What names? I think it's a bit tiny, the Scotsman in Stranger Things. That would really open it up a bit.
That'd be pretty cool. Well, guys, we will see you on the next episode, which will be next Friday. Take it easy. Thanks for staying up late with us. In fact, we always do live. We went earlier night. So thanks again, guys, and huge thanks to Stephen. Make sure to check him out on his social media. Doesn't do Facebook, but you can find him on Instagram and Twitter at Stephen McCole. His Twitter is SMC. Correct?
Yeah.
I am correct. And we'll see you guys.
That's confidence for you. Cheers, Stephen.
Take it easy, guys. Thanks again, Stephen.
And we're still live.